This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome, everybody. What a good way to, what a professional way to start the show. Welcome to the X&C Podcast. We're live here on YouTube. Welcome, everybody, to the show. This is episode 212. We've got a packed show today. There's a lot going on. It's been an unprecedented summer where normally after E3 season, showcase, and all that stuff, everything just dies down for 2 months. But you know the news has been coming. Mag has been making videos like crazy. And I've been making the occasional video and excited about things. So welcome, everybody. Mag, how the heck are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Jon Snow, already you're starting with me, eh? As he sees the Blue Jays shirt going on. It's not my fault they're number one overall. All right? It's not my fault that the Yankees are 4 back and they're about to be 5 back again after they get swept tonight. And we just swept the Giants. But anyways, it doesn't matter. We're talking about video games today. Colteastwood started with a nice hacked lung. But no, we're clear. We're ready to rock. We got video games to talk about. It's Monday night. Let's get it going. Hi, everybody in the chat. Let's party.
Hi. Yeah, and my Mariners are doing pretty good, except for I think yesterday they got beat pretty good by the Astros, but they've been winning the series. So people aren't here for baseball, but we do have our passions. What have you been playing? Let's talk about like the gaming stuff. What have you been doing besides making videos?
Making videos, and I've been playing games. Last week I did I did Borderlands with the Fam Jam. I did more Silent Hill for the community. We were having some streaming nights. Had a lot of fun there. Got really far in Silent Hill. So now I think I'm getting to the last 3-4 hours of the game. So that's doing good. I ended up getting, can you believe it, folks? I ended up getting that platinum on Resident Evil Village. That the Mercenaries was merciless, let's say. But now I've downloaded it for the Xbox because I played on the Xbox when it first came out, right? Well, I re-downloaded it because now I'm going to go back and get that final completion because I'm literally missing one achievement, and that was the Mercenaries. I know how to do it now, and I'm like, I got my game plan, so now I'm going to go back and get that completion there. You know what I started playing, and I can't stop?
What?
Diablo 4.
Oh, really? It's actually won you over, huh?
It's really good. It's good. Diablo 4 is really good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun. I played for 4 hours today. I mean, Monday's my day off, right? So I played 4 hours off and on, and I'm like, this is awesome. Yeah. So anyways,
really? I played it a little bit.
Yeah, man. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
I played it for a little while, and I just didn't get why everybody loves it or gets hooked so much, but everybody's really praising it. So that's just how it is. Because, Meg, I texted you earlier in the week. Last week.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I am really enjoying Star Wars Outlaws. I couldn't believe it. I don't know. I have lots of gripes about the game. There's a lot of really stupid things. But overall, I'm just really enjoying the game and having a good time playing it. I'm probably 30 hours in. I've hardly really accomplished anything because I'm just doing so many quests, and the game definitely could have some obvious fixes, but I'm just really enjoying it, and I'm glad I'm playing it. I got it for less than $24, and like you said, you and That Blue Number and Dante, Jay Moody have all said you really enjoyed the game, and I could totally see it.
Loved it.
Yeah,
loved it.
It's got a little bit of Uncharted. It's got a little bit of Splinter Cell. It's got a little bit of Starfield. It's got a little bit of Star Wars. Now, I don't know. I know people laugh. Yeah. I don't know.
It's amazing. I thought this is a fantastic game. And speaking of Ubisoft, this will be a little bit. By the way, everybody bow down to one of the greatest names in the chat, Karen's Raisin Potato Salad. It's just a name that it just transcends all time. It's a name of the gods. I mean, if you were looking up at in the pantheon, and you see Zeus and Thor and even Kratos and then Mars, and then of course you see Karen's Raisin Potato Salad right next to them. best name in gaming. Anyways, the thing is, Ubisoft also released an update on Avatar. Did you see that, by the way?
I did.
Today?
Yeah.
They released a third person view of the game, and then they're doing even more things to the game, and then they're going to sort of release new updates as they for the rest of the year, including a new expansion that's going to be free of charge. And man, those screenshots! I mean, Ubisoft games are always gorgeous.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple glitches here and there, but on the whole, the games are fantastic looking, and this looks just stunning. I was just like, holy cow. Even though I completed the game, got my 100% on it, I almost want to re-download it just to walk around for 5 minutes and just to take a look at it. You know what I mean? To see
I do
this
too.
third-person mode.
Yeah.
So
I think
might-
you and I
might do
you finished it a couple of months ago, but I played it at the end of 2023, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah, anyway. I worked over it in the holiday when it launched, and Ubisoft, man, it's our first topic today because they get a lot of crap, but they kind of bend over backwards. Yeah, let's say that, Mag. They bend over backwards in the games industry. They just don't always bend the right direction toward what fans want. One of the recent quotes was that they said that microtransactions make their games more fun because fans can just skip right to the good parts by doing pay to win. You and I are big fans of Ubisoft games, and if you and I look at all of the catalog of games, there might be 3 or 4 there where we're like, no thanks. But when you're looking at 30 to 40 different games, I don't know how many they put out that we love, they get a bad rap, but they just make so much stuff, and their quality control isn't spot on. But man, do they make good-looking, fun, and kind of addicting games. And I really want them to pull out of this like tailspin, but what have you dove into about like the good and the bad with Ubisoft lately? Because there's been a couple of news articles and about them.
Well, the funny thing is that they went real quiet for a while, and that's a good thing. That's basically they're like, okay, guys, pull back, buckle down. Let's get some games out there. Let's get some updates out there. Show the community we care. Free updates. Yes, Maverick, you're right. One of the big updates is going to be coming in December. There's also rumors that in early 2026 they're going to be releasing a co-op mode for Assassin's Creed Shadow. That will be an overhaul of the game where you will be able to play one of the 2 characters. By the way, I bought it. Did I tell you that? I got Assassin's Creed Shadow. It was on sale for 30% off, and I'm like, well, I got to buy it.
Oh, so, yeah. I loved it,
I ended up getting it. My wife is playing it right now. She's about 3 hours in, and she's like, it's like, you know the same old Ubisoft. The first hour and a half, you don't get to play squat. It's all like, what the hell's the name of that company? The corporation that owns you know what I'm talking about. I can't remember. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
I know. I can see it. It's like an AV word or something like that.
Yeah. It's like
help us, Assassin's Creed fans. What's the name of that stupid corporation that like makes you pay so you can visit your ancestors with the VR thing? And Desmond had to go. What is it?
It's gonna drive me nuts until we remember.
Okay.
Not Abstergo, I think it was.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was so not close.
Abstergo. There you go, John Delmore. Dova, you were pretty close. He says Aspergo. I think that's a disease, isn't it?
That's
Anyways, yeah. So that you have to do all that crap.
Sounds
and then,
like
of course, you
one of those pharmaceutical drugs. When they're like out having a picnic with the barbecue game cat and the raised potato salad and everyone's happy. It's like, do you try Abstergo? It'll keep you, perform in a tip-top condition for at least 3.5 minutes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You have erectile dysfunction? Go to Abstergo, where you can visit your ancestors and stay happy in the bedroom.
You can get it on with your ancestors. Abstergo.
Yeah. Want to make love to a 600-year-old ancestor? Well, look no further than Abstergo. So
man, they were hot back then.
I know, geez, especially when they were unshaven and unwashed. Anyhow, so the first hour is like getting through all that Abstergo crap, and then they go into like the story, and then they always do the obligatory mission where you don't really get to choose. It's like in the middle of a battle, and you're just kind of running and killing everything, like because you're part of like a.
It still looked amazing though, like Yasuke's like charge into the fiery, pillaging.
Holy crap. That looked really good. I watched for 2 seconds. I didn't want to watch a lot. Well, I didn't want to watch a lot because I'm gonna play it, right? So I'm like, no, you play. So I looked in the room for like 2 seconds, and I was like, holy crap! Like you can even see the reflection of the fire off of Yasuke's armor and stuff as he's in the dark. and I'm just like, God.
Hey, let me ask you real quick before you dive in. A lot of people didn't like this question, but which one graphically looks better, Shadows or Ghost of Yotei?
Well, I haven't played
opinion.
either. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen pictures, but pictures don't mean not much to me. So I need to see it like on my
screen. Well, didn't you watch the state of play? We got to see quite a bit of Yotei.
Oh no, I watched all of it, but like same thing. It's like, all right, I could see something. It looks good or bad. It didn't look bad, but I was told so far from people who did play it that Shadows is considered to be a real generational leap in graphics.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, right? It's very beautiful.
So
is it as good as a game of Tsushima or Yotei? Probably. Well, I mean, the marks say it's a few points low, quite a few points lower, but 7 points lower or whatever. But like I said, I can't wait for you to play it.
Yeah, I'm going to get to it eventually. So we'll see. And then Ghost of Yotei I'm going to be playing anyway. So I'll make a proper judgment when it's in front of my face, like a foot away from my face in my monitor. And I'll be like, okay, this one looks better than this, or this one looks better than that. But just like I said, I tried to stay as far away from it as possible. Like I wouldn't even watch a lot of my wife playing because I'm like, I don't want to spoil anything. So I walked away from it, and then that's it.
However, I didn't hear you say that. You're watching her like spool up the game. Okay.
Yeah, no, she played for about 3 hours. So now she's finally like in the game, so to speak, right? And then, but I just stuck my head in during that opening scene where Yasuke's running through the, like during the invasion of the whatever in the castle. And then I just looked for 2 seconds and I'm like, all right, I'm out. I don't want to see anymore. When I load it up, I'll play it because, but yeah, listen, man, I'm looking forward to both. I just don't want to get overkilled with going from Shadows because I'm going to pop in like at least 150 hours into Shadows.
Which will put you right into like Yotei season. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm going to go into another game that's very similar. And I'm like, I'm going to have like Samurai Burnout. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know.
Which is another one of the symptoms for Abstergo's drug, Do you have Samurai Burnout? Does it burn when you unsheath? Burnout? Try Abstergo. Shout out to our sponsor, Abstergo, for twice daily or whatever. Yeah.
That's right. Take Abstergo twice daily to help with all of your needs.
I don't know. There was a little bit of Ubisoft stuff, and I guess maybe it's not a lot of stuff that you and I would like rap about for a while. But what the son is passing on, the dad is passing on stuff to his son. Whatever the guy's name is, the French Canadian guy that runs Ubisoft, or they're just French. I can't remember.
No, he's from France. He's from France.
He's from France.
Yves Guillemot.
Oh, I remember one of the things he said was, he said, you're going to love this because you and I have bones to pick with the Star Wars entertainment stuff. He said the reason why Star Wars Outlaws failed was because the TV show and the franchise was kind of on a burnout. It was kind of in a bad situation with the what was that show that everyone made fun of last year? The Acolyte.
Everything released by Disney since 2020.
Kind of. I mean, Mandalorian was good. Book of Boba Fett was kind of good. But coming up, Andor was doing really amazing, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was doing incredible, right? Or Survivor.
That was a great. Survivor. Yeah, Survivor. Yeah. Sorry. Great story. Great.
We
game.
Finished.
Yeah.
So what's your take on what's your take on Star Wars Outlaws versus like the state of the Disney, the state of the Star Wars franchise, and because you like the game.
Love the games. The games, actually, the Star Wars games have wonderful stories and great atmosphere and basically the Star Wars that we all kind of wanted in one way or another. I know some people had gripes about the character from Star Wars Outlaws, and they're like, oh, why don't you just make it Han Solo, but instead you made it a girl. That didn't bother me at all. I thought she was a charming little character. I enjoyed her. And then, of course, the two Jedi games, Fallen Order and Survivor, I thought were fantastic games. So that was 3 big Star Wars games that I thought were magnificent games. And I'm like, these are fantastic. And then you go to Disney Plus or minus if you want, and it's like Disney minus, and you're just like, holy crap. Like, what is this? Season 1 of Mando was great. Season 2 of Mando was I actually enjoyed season 2 as well. And then it fell off a cliff after that. Then you can tell by the ratings too. And so it's not just Mag saying it. It's like, oh, well, it's just Mag. No, go look at the ratings of between 2 and 3 just went right off a cliff.
But I think the majority of the content was actually bigger and better than some of the failures. Like Dova in the chat says Ahsoka wasn't bad either. I heard really great things about the Ahsoka show. And like I said earlier, Book of Boba Fett, not everybody loved, but it was still pretty... whatever. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. There was some stupid stuff in there, but like, it was stuff that I could overlook. I actually, this is an unpopular opinion for a lot of people, but I actually enjoyed the Obi-Wan series for the most part. There were some characters that were completely unnecessary, storylines that were completely unnecessary. But like overall, I didn't mind it. I actually thought it was pretty cool. Like it's like seeing Obi-Wan, decades later or a decade later, whatever it was. And then of course Vader, and then like the whole thing, and like how Obi-Wan kind of lost his mojo and had to get his mojo back, and how Obi-Wan got his groove back. I think we're gonna make a romantic comedy about it,
right?
And I actually thought it was pretty good. And like, even the last fight scene there, when he slashes his helmet, and you got half Anakin voice, half Vader voice.
Yeah, I didn't watch past a few episodes of Obi-Wan, but
that was the last episode. And then like when he slices his head with the lightsaber, that is when, of course, Return of the Jedi, when Luke takes off Vader's helmet,
that's
or
why
Anakin's helmet, he has that one bubbly scar over there, and that's the one that Obi-Wan gave him in that fight. Yeah, well, dude, it looked like bubbles. Like it looked like a bubble scar that, like, whatever. It was kind of gross looking, but either way, that's where he got that scar. Pretty cool. And I loved how they showed the red eye of Anakin, and you could still hear his voice through half of the cracked face mask. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I enjoyed some of that stuff. So it's not all bad. However, if you look at it overall, the Star Wars franchise is dead. In terms of not the games, in terms of what's been happening, like people the apathy has just kicked in, and nobody's watching anything. There's just nothing. There's no ratings. The ratings.
Nobody's watching anything, but Andor was one of the biggest deals going on just a couple of months ago.
I heard Andor season 2 was very good.
Yeah,
I heard it was very good. However, not that many people watched it. Once again, the ratings are tanked because people aren't sitting down to watch it. And it's unfortunate because things like Andor season 1 and 2 are victims of the bad stuff that people are just like, ugh, they just tie it all in. And then the same thing, look at never mind, look at Marvel. Marvel has been a complete train wreck except for Deadpool and Wolverine. You look at, and Spider-Man, I got to say Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is more Sony. But like, you look at that situation, you got 5 years of absolute ass trash coming out on Disney Plus and in the theaters. No one's watching them. Everything's tanking. They're losing money, losing subscribers. And then all of a sudden, Deadpool, Wolverine, something that people actually want to see, makes $2 billion. Like, come on. Like, it's so obvious what works and what's not working. Same with Star Wars.
That's Star Wars and stuff like that needs to grow with your audience. And they're trying to capture the younger audience, but the younger audience just wants the same thing we want. They want like mature, hard-hitting, memorable stuff. They don't want virtual signaling, safe content. But another game that nobody ever talked about was about 2 years ago was Star Wars Battle Squadron, I think it was called, and it was like a in-cockpit view space fighting game that I don't think did very well. I gave up on it after a few hours. It just
wasn't it on Game Pass for a while, or am I mistaken?
No, but no, it wasn't on Game Pass. I don't think it sold very well. Rogue Squadron, thank you, Tim Richards. Yeah, Star Wars Squadrons. It was weird Rogue because Squadron I was dying over and over on the easiest like early missions. I'm like, what the heck? I don't know. They've just put out so much game content and so many shows and movies that like you're just bound to get something that's good. But there's so much swill out there when it comes to Star Wars. And maybe there's some truth to Ubisoft's CEO saying that Star Wars Outlaws flopped because people were down on Last Jedi. People were down on some of the TV shows and Book of Boba Fett. Like a lot of people didn't like it. And then they give you this. I just think Star Wars Outlaws is missing a couple of key things. Like it didn't need to be a Han Solo like Kyle Katarn. Shout out to my old school guys if you know who that is. Kay Vess, the main character of Star Wars Outlaws, is just a little bit too bubbly and clumsy for me. And the game's really good, but I just can't stand that when you go to knock somebody out, they'll be like looking around and then they'll stop and slide into into position to be taken out. And of course, all the assassinations look ridiculous. Shout out to Paris who says, I'm here for the controversy. Let's get to the controversy, Colt. We were warming up a little bit of Star Wars, but well, we've got some conflicting reports on what's going on, the state of some of the bigger games and new hardware and stuff like that. So I thought maybe we should just get right into it now. What did I have it on the docket here? I had it for I have it here, but yeah, let's just get this. Let's get this one going. People, we have over 400 people. People are here to hear all of what's going on. So, Detective Siege, a guy in our game community, reported that he has a contact at PlayStation who is currently working on Grand Theft Auto 6 for the PlayStation platform. And Meg, if I say anything that sounds off, quote, you can correct me. But he says, according to this PlayStation contact, the game is currently running at 60 FPS only on the PS5 Pro. And a lot of red flags came up when I heard this, but I'm going to do my best not to. I don't want to come off as defensive, but I've dug into the hardware for so long that some of these reportings don't really make sense in their current form, and I think there's some evolutionary stuff that's going to happen. And you've also heard a little bit about this PlayStation 5 Pro and Grand Theft Auto 6. And before I give you the reins on this, Mag, keep in mind, we're about to talk about the biggest game in probably the last 20 years, at least the last 10 years. Grand Theft Auto 6 will be one of the most highly discussed and the biggest spotlight on this game for a long, long time. And when people claim to hear things about gameplay leaks, or if they claim they're hearing things about, we don't even know who the actual motion capture artists that are playing Jason and Lucia. This stuff is locked down so tight. And for Detective Siege to come out and say that he's got a contact who has hands-on with the actual build of the game, not only to just work on it, but has got it up to 60 frames, goes against the grain of a lot of things we've been hearing, and there's a lot to dive into. Mag, what can you say about Grand Theft Auto 6 and the consoles?
So I made a video on Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday, talking about this exact subject because it came up Saturday morning. I heard nothing from my people, and so I go, well, this is an interesting topic, and I know Detective Seeds well. And so I'm like, let me see what's going on here. So I looked into it or whatever. Not a peep from anybody I know. So I did the video, and I did the video very sort of like from a third-person point of view. It was just kind of like, okay, here's the story, here's what's happening. And I sort of left it up to the audience at that point. I'm like, do you guys believe it? You do not believe it, whatever, that this is actually happening. I left it up to them to decide. I leaned to, more towards Seeds on this one, and then I left it alone. And then late last night, I get a message from one of my guys, and this is one of my guys, well, I won't say from where, and he's very prominent, and he reached out to me and he said, Detective Seeds' report is accurate. And I was
how confident are you in this source?
He's been 100% every time. Everything that I've gotten right is because of that guy. So, okay. And he's one of those Microsoft guys. He hasn't been wrong thus far. So anyways, it doesn't matter. And like, it's not about hurting people's feelings. I'm just telling you, that's just the way it is. It's just the same, I was about to swear, same stuff that happened like a year and a half ago when the same guy told me about every single game in detail that was coming to PlayStation and when. By the way, funny enough, you know what he mentioned to me as well? He watched our show last week. Mm-hmm. And he actually said, he reached out to me and he said, he goes, by the way, it goes, you're wrong, but Colt was right about Starfield. And then because, like, for example, I said I haven't heard anything, so I don't even know if Starfield's coming anymore. And then he in another conversation, he actually said, I watched the show on Monday, and he says, you're wrong, but Colt was right. You will be hearing something about it within the next month or so, going to PlayStation or whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, all right, Colt's right on that one. So yeah, I'll take the knee on that. But either way, that's all he said.
There's a first for everything.
He did, however, go into some detail that nobody else would really know about that GTA situation, and he said, I'm not to breathe a word about it, because that would out him. So I'm like, okay. And he doesn't work for Sony. He works for Microsoft. So, yeah. They know what's going on over there. They all know what's going on. They behind the scenes, they all do whatever they got to do. Now, whether you believe it or not, that's entirely up to you. You don't have, it is what it is. But that's what I was told. So we'll see. But
Okay.
he's saying the same thing, and he hasn't been wrong thus far. And he's pretty high up in the Microsoft chain. And he said the same thing. He said that the Seeds information was accurate. That's all he said. I mean, he told me something else, which I could tell you behind the scenes, but I'm not allowed to say. He said, absolutely do not say it on the air. So I'm like, okay, no problem.
Okay. I don't have a lot of people that come to me and give me like G14 classified information. I have not heard a peep about Grand Theft Auto 6. I haven't heard anything. And I've reported on the game. I've had a couple of videos, but they've been leakers who have put their stuff on social media, and I've broken it down and making a video out of someone's like, you can read a listing of stuff that people say that they've heard, and I could turn that into a video and make it a little more fun to watch. But I've not heard anything about performance or anything like that when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 6. What I will tell you,
last night.
What's that?
I just got that. I said I didn't hear anything about it either until last night. So when that came out, I was like, oh, okay, that's a first. That I haven't heard anything about that. And then, like I said, last night I got that message late, right before I went to bed, and I was like, oh, I'm like, okay.
So
he asked me to ask you a question, by the way.
Your source person?
Yes. He asked me.
Do you want to ask it now or what?
Yeah. And it's about Grand Theft. It's about Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, ask away.
He was curious. Let me get my phone. It's right over there.
Okay. What else I was going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say before you said that. Oh, yeah, my first reaction, before you say that, my first reaction to Detective Seed's report was like, there was no way that PlayStation or even Xbox engineers are hands-on with this game code this early, 10 months until release, or maybe even longer if they delay it. And I did talk to someone that wouldn't know, but they said that it's absolutely possible that PlayStation or Xbox or both are actually doing hands-on work and helping with any type of optimization. So whether you believe this report from Detective Seeds or anybody else who's reporting on the information, I would say, is it possible that he's talking to a PlayStation developer? The reason why I bring that up is Rockstar is so secretive and so FBI government lockdown with their games. You've heard their voice actors and actresses talk about the secrecy when they audition or when they're recording stuff. Like, they can't say anything. They're so secret sometimes they don't even know some of the stuff they're doing. People who review Rockstar games are told. I talked to a guy who reviewed Grand Theft Auto 5 recently. I talked to him about this. He was told he could not review the game unless he was in a room that had a door in front of the door. He had to be in a room that was a door away from his family and another door. So he had to be in a separate room. That door that he's in had to have a lock installed on it, and he had to tell them that he installed a lock and give him his word that he locked the door every time he sat and played the game, because they don't want people walking up and just seeing. This is how crazy it is with games like Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar. They don't even want someone looking over the shoulder. So if a PlayStation developer is working on optimization for Grand Theft Auto 6, right now, it's highly unlikely that PlayStation developer would reach out to someone like Detective Seeds, who shares. This is going to sound really biting, okay? But I'm just going to say it. It's very unlikely, under all of the guns that have been pointed at, the legal guns that have been pointed at these people, it's very highly unlikely that they would reach out to Detective Seeds and say, hey, we got this thing running at 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro. And he's like, can I tweet that out? Yeah, just don't say you got it from me. I mean, that's some dicey, risky stuff. All right, Mag, you got your question ready for me?
Yeah, no, he just wanted to know what you thought about something. He just wanted your opinion on it.
Okay.
This was in regards to hardware with GTA 6 and stuff like that. And that's why it came up, and I'm like, oh,
I've got a lot to say about that. Yeah.
Okay, he says ask that question because he wanted to know your opinion. But anyways, here's his question for you, and he says here, in quotes, with the current price of the Xbox consoles and with PlayStation not raising their prices, how do you foresee the sales of GTA 6 affecting the console sales division for the rest of the generation? And that's not number one. And number two,
Okay.
will this cause further changes to Xbox's plans for future hardware based on how this will change their division of the market? Did that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think the first question he's asking is Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to sell really well, and he's asking if it was going to push consoles.
Right.
There will be a large uptick in sales of Xbox Series S and X consoles when Grand Theft Auto comes out.
Sure.
And alongside PS5 Pros and PS5s. Absolutely. So I'm sure that Microsoft is like waiting for that moment. They're always waiting. PlayStation and Xbox are waiting not so much for their own first-party games. They're waiting for the next super hyped popular game to drop on their platform to increase sales of software and possibly increase sales of consoles. So even if something like Baldur's Gate comes out, it can increase consoles a little bit. So something like Grand Theft Auto 6 will highly speed up the sales of Xbox consoles. The problem with Xbox consoles is they're highly overpriced because they jack the price up because they don't care about they don't care about competing with PlayStation. So the Xbox Series X is close to $600. I think it's like almost $425 for the higher model Series S, and you could get a digital PS5 for around that same price. So I don't know if that answers his question, but there will be an uptick of sales thanks to Grand Theft Auto. It'll be a nice shot in the arm for the industry for sure. They're all waiting on that.
Sure, and if you think about it right now, I think the numbers were, if I'm not mistaken, there's 25 plus million still on Xbox One, and there's 40 million still playing on PS4. So you've got approximately 65 million people still playing on last-gen consoles, right? They're still active on last-gen consoles. If you want to play GTA 6, you are going to have to upgrade to the current gen consoles, whether that's Series X, S, or PS5 or PS5 Pro, 4 consoles. It's not coming to Switch 2. So you've got those 4 consoles that you have the options of buying, right? And if you've got those 65 million people out there who are going, holy crap, GTA 6 is out, of course they're going to go buy. So they're going to have to, then they're going to go to the store. Now think about this. If those people are still in those last gen consoles, they are not as hardcore as like us or the chat
That's
or
the
anything
thing.
else. Remember?
Yep.
And they're not as hardcore, so they're going to be looking at the price, right? And so I think that's also what he's asking is goes, if Microsoft is not budging on that price and either is Sony, people are going to have to start looking at numbers. And then they're not going to go to the PS5 Pro, and they're not going to go to that 2 terabyte Series X, whatever the hell it was, the one with all the stars on it, because that was even more, what was it, $730 for that one? But you can get this other Series X for cheaper. And then the Series S. But like you look at that, and then they're going to start looking at prices and saying, okay, which am I going to buy? So I think that's kind of what he was asking. But it's an interesting little thought,
It is.
That,
and it reminds me of Donkey Kong Bonanza right now is like a must-have game, and you can't get it unless you buy the Nintendo Switch 2. Think about how many people would say, all right, fine, I'll get a Switch 2 because of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Grand Theft Auto's push, that pushes you in the back and says, go get a new console. Grand Theft Auto 6 will do that tenfold than what something like an amazing game like Donkey Kong Bonanza will do. Because an exclusive that's only available on that device will push people to eventually upgrade. But Mag makes a really good point. Xbox One and PS4 owners are going to leap out of their chairs to get access to Grand Theft Auto 6. If it's if it drops and it scores like a 92 or a 94 or whatever, like we would expect it might, they typically make amazing games that are undeniable. So it'll be a big jump. There's a lot of tech discussion that has to happen tonight about 60 FPS, and I've got a 3-minute clip from Digital Foundry that Mag preferences in his video on Saturday, and you said it was last year, but it was actually 2 months ago. And
get out of here! That was only 2 months ago.
I know. I thought the same thing. Yeah, it was very recent.
I thought it was like. Never mind. That isn't my. By the way, just to preface everything, this isn't my story. It's not my scoop. So that's why I didn't kind of dive into it so like head first. I'm just like, hey man, it's not my scoop. I'm reporting on it. I have thoughts and feelings just like everything, but this isn't my scoop. This is Seeds' scoop. So whether it succeeds or fails, Whatever. That's you know what? And actually, I was watching a Reforge this morning for a couple of minutes there, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, "Hey, listen. At the end of the day, we have to wait till they announce it. There's nothing else we can do. We can speculate all day long." He leans one way or the other, but like at the end, he's like, "We'll find out when it comes out." So we'll know by then, obviously, right? And then we'll see what happens. So there's no point in getting our panties in a knot about it. We'll just wait and see what happens. And then,
well, I mean, people will get their panties. They will get their panties in a knot because the implication is, because Detective Siege says right now it's only running 60 FPS on PS5 Pro. So what that does is there's 100 million people on Series and PS5 consoles, and there's probably 8 to 10 million on PS5 Pro. Maybe it's even lower. So what his statement does is tell people, not only do I have to play on PlayStation if I'm an Xbox guy or PC, I have to buy the most expensive PS5 console with the Pro. And then it tells the Xbox guys that I was already planning on getting it. Now I'm getting the worst version in performance and resolution. So my first reaction, some of the things I'm going to say here, take this as, I don't think that if Detective Siege is wrong, that it's an L or a failure. He's reporting on what he believes is true, and it's that guy's information, and Detective Siege is reporting on it. So now if Detective Siege was out there saying, you guys are going to eat it, it's going to be 60 FPS, you guys suck it, suck this 60 FPS, then he might have to take a knee on that. But for just making a report and moving on with his life, the very first thing I thought when I heard this is he says, right now it's running at 60 FPS only on the PS5 Pro. My very limited tech knowledge that I've dug into for 8 years when it comes to CPUs and GPUs, frame rates and resolutions, and now the regenerative stuff that we're seeing. The first thing I thought, Mag, was, here's the translation. If it's 60 FPS on the Pro, they're working on the base PS5 and Xbox Series X. And if it's 60 FPS on the Pro, my best prediction is it's probably 60 FPS on the Series X and PS5 as well. And I'm going to tell you why. And I could be wrong. There are some factors that could push things over the edge. The PS5 Pro has a 10 to 12% boost in CPU over the base PS5, and kind of in between the Series X, because the Series X has a slight CPU advantage over the PS5 base model. So if you have the game at 60 FPS on the Pro, that means that the Xbox should be able to, and the PS5 should be able to muster a 60 FPS draw call. The reason why I just said the word draw call is because, what would be a, all right, I'm to give you a visual aid. All right, so inside the consoles, you have the GPU that's beefier, thicker, and then you have the CPU. The GPU is going to do all of the polygons, the textures, the resolution, and all of the things that make the game look really, really nice. It's going to build the game, everything you see. The CPU, and I might not be explaining this exactly perfect, and KY can help me out in the chat, but the CPU's job is to it's going to draw everything you see in the game. The CPU is going to take that draw and bring the frames and get a cycle of frame rates. What happens in the last 3 generations of console, 360, Xbox One, and these consoles, is you can't have all the frames you want with everything going on in the game. Digital Foundry is about to explain in this clip that there are so many things that are GPU intensive, but there are a lot of things that make Grand Theft Auto look great and play great are the CPU. Not only do you get how many frames per second is due to your CPU, which is why they call it a CPU bottleneck. The CPU is going to be busy handling all of the pedestrians, all of the physics, and some of the lighting, I think. I'm going to play this clip, and it's rare for you and I to sit and not talk on a show, but I'm going to play it, and I've got the show on a lower latency. So if you unmute the show right now, Mag, I'm going to play the clip, and you can hear John Linneman, Alex Battaglia, and Oliver Mack talk about why they don't think the console versions will be 60 FPS, and we're going to talk about it from there. and I'm going to make sure.
Do you think that this game is going to have a 60 FPS mode?
By the way,
or do you think it's
Skill
going to
at
be
Will,
30
does Mike sound better?
FPS only on launch?
I had to turn down too much. I had to turn down too much.
This is difficult to say.
I'm not hearing it.
But I'm going to...
I'm
hearing it.
Because maybe they surprise us. But my personal guess is that it's going to be 30 FPS only. But we'll see. 30 FPS only. I'd love to be wrong. Alex,
I would love to be wrong too, but there are just some things that they
I'm hearing
can't
it twice.
cut.
Is it?
I don't
twice
think
or once?
like for cutscenes, what they could do.
I don't know why.
Like they just keep them at 30.
Oh, I know why. I
and
can't.
Right.
I
They
can't
turn on
unmute.
extra
Sorry.
features for them. Games have
I'm
done
just gonna
that.
have to let you go
for,
go by.
for
That's a
almost
good point.
But
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm gonna go back really
can't
quick.
get rid of
because
RTGI. It's inherent to the
Fine.
way the game.
I'm
gonna go back just a little
seen
bit.
The clip already.
I would love to be wrong too,
yeah,
but there are just some
I've seen
some
the clip
things
a
that
few
they
times
can't
already
cut.
today. Actually, it made the rounds
I don't
today,
think
but,
like for cutscenes,
some
what they
people in
could
the chat,
do,
like I said, I'm
like,
not a
they just keep them
tech
at
guy,
30,
but I saw some people in the chat
and
mentioning
they turn on extra features for them. Games have done that.
That there is going to be
that's a good point.
an
But-
upgrade to the Pro in
can't
early
get rid of
2026.
RTGI.
Something about I don't know.
It's
Oh, yeah, I'll get to
inherent
that in
the
a
way
minute.
the
Let me-
game works.
I'm gonna let
Even
them
getting
listen-
rid of RT
listen to this
reflections
short
potentially could
Alright,
make
yeah.
scenes
Go for
look quite a bit different if the game was artistically designed around them. And they're all throughout the trailer here, so they obviously have made them as a part, a purpose part of the gameplay. And as soon as you have RTGI, a massive open world, those things tend to not run well at 60 FPS. So I kind of don't. I mean, we're also looking at, in terms of the resolution of these cinematics too. We're already looking at something that is, it's like higher res than 1080p, but it's not a whole lot higher res than 1080p in some aspects. And then you
About
have to
1
talk
minute
about
left.
crunching that down to 60 FPS. Like, what type of resolution would we running at there with an FSR1 upscale? Would you even want that level of resolution at all as a game designer that you design this game? Would you really want that like FSR1 look to your entire open world game, especially as a default mode people would play on? And historically in the past, all of the games have released at 30 FPS since, or even lower than 30 FPS since, I don't know. When was the,
Can you hear it, Mag?
It was like
Table
Be
tennis.
able to listen.
yeah, Table Tennis is a 60 FPS game. There you go. That was a fantastic looking game though. Yeah, I think everything points to this being a 30 FPS game, maybe with a 40 FPS mode on some
Oliver?
systems.
I'd agree completely with Alex. The only wrinkle I'd add in is that, well, if you're preparing a Series S version,
Yeah,
do you just take the settings there and say, could we run this on PS5 or Series X?
oh my goodness.
Could we run it at 60? Could we just run it unlocked? What could we do with that? I can imagine some very smart minds at Rockstar might be contemplating that question. But no, I would expect it to be a 30 FPS game, absent maybe some modes that are unlocking the frame rate slightly. Although who knows? I mean, I know that like in these cutscenes, there are sometimes some animation issues in these Rage Engine titles.
Right.
I don't know if that would be the case here and if that would interact unfavorably with like an unlocked frame rate. I did note maybe some animation pacing issues throughout this cutscene sequence. I don't know if you guys noticed that as well. Some slightly uneven movement there. Yeah. So that could possibly be an issue as well. They might need to constrain things for.
That was probably the most challenging thing we've ever done on the show, is have to stay quiet for over 2 minutes. It's like it's impossible for us.
Were they reporting on golf? Like, jeez. Well, Colteastwood is lining up on the 5th hole. He's 185 yards from the pin, and he's pulling out a 6-iron. And I see that Mag is coming up, and he's shotgunning beer in the background, trying to distract Colt. He even has one of those loud fart machines. What do you think about that, John?
Oh my gosh. All right, so I if I would have had something set up properly, I could have listened to it with you. And when I was listening along, the latency gave you two versions. What did you get from that? Sorry, what did you get from that clip? Since I didn't get to listen to it again.
You didn't get to listen to it again?
I couldn't listen to it just now, so I have to remember what I heard this morning when I watched it again.
Just to give you like the 1 second. Yeah, Magnum, you're not wrong. In a 30-second, 10-second clip, basically what they're just trying to say is that it just wouldn't be able to, the hardware wouldn't be able to handle it because there'd be a bottleneck that would slow down the frame rate and stuff. They said the most they could possibly get is 40 FPS. Now, As I said, some people in the chat were discussing some stuff about the PS5 Pro in terms of these updates that are coming later in early 2026, which they're apparently working on now. I don't know the specifics about it.
It's PSSR 2.0, which is very close to or very relatable to FSR 4. And just so people don't think that I don't have any kind of agenda here, because I've reported on FSR 4 and PSSR 2.0. Those are really impressive and have made games, well, the plan is to make the games look even better with better performance boosts. So PSSR 2.0 could be a really good light at the end of the tunnel for performance increases for just the Pro. And it won't be available to the standard consoles. So
so now how about this? Let's just say, for argument's sake, that they work on something that would be comparable for both systems. Let's say you've got the Series X gets, I don't know, a 1080p 60 mode.
Okay, sure. Yeah, good.
Right?
Yeah.
Series S, I think, would stay at 30.
Yep. I agree.
Series S at 30. Let's just say they put 1080p 60 FPS on the Series X, and then the Pro gets maybe a 1440p 60, or they can upscale it even more and go down to like 50 frames. And you know what I mean? Like, for example, isn't what the hell is that game called? Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers, that's coming out later this week. I think the Pro has 4 different settings. They can go up to 80 frames, something like that. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's like you can do 60.
I saw
70,
that with
80.
Cyberpunk. Yeah.
Yeah, and then apparently the Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is the same thing. They have like 3 or 4 different options. So you'd have more options to get a little bit more, let's say a little bit more clarity plus the frame rates with the Pro or whatever. But, you know, there's a possibility that I think at that point that the Series X could get like a 1080 60. It's an option, right? You could still go 4K 30 or whatever, and then do that. I mean, like I said, I'm not a tech guy, so it's not really my field, but these are just guesses, and I think that would be like pretty solid guess.
Yeah.
But we shall see. We're going to find out.
Oh, the King says FSR 4 is coming to the Pro.
Okay.
I just thought that, I know that PSSR 2.0 is very comparable to FSR 4. I didn't know that they put both in there, but which is weird because FSR 4 specifically is not made for the current architecture of the consoles, which a PS5 Pro is also in that current architecture. One of the other things that we have to also discuss is that would Rockstar do this? Would Rockstar push for a quasi 60 frames or a 40 to 45 VR mode at the cost of the quality of the game? Would they do that? And somebody I talked to earlier today said, think about the past history of Rockstar. It took them 2 generations to get Grand Theft Auto 5 to 60 FPS. It was 30 on the Xbox 360 and PS3. It was 30 on the Xbox One and PS4. And it didn't get a 60 FPS mode until we're on Series and PS5. But that just means those other consoles are more bottlenecked than these current ones are. Way more bottlenecked. But I've got a couple other quotes I got to read to you. But the first thing was, will Rockstar compromise the visual quality? Because when Red Dead 2 came out, you know, bottlenecked console, but they made the game look absolutely gorgeous, and there was no compromise in the gameplay, and the fidelity and the physics engine and everything was all ramped up to the max, and they didn't compromise that quality to put it at 60. So the problem with PSSR and FSR 4 is that you can get the game, like Mag said, what if they're at like 1080p or 1440p and 60? Well, 1440p 60 is amazing. That would be incredible. Like if you have a decent PC, that's a really good benchmark. So if Rockstar, the Digital Foundry said in this video that the base PS5 trailer was running barely over 1080p. So I don't know what that resolution was. Maybe it's 1080p to 1200p or whatever. That's kind of a resolution we've seen in the past a lot. So FSR or PSSR can get that resolution, even if it's as low as 1080p. They can make it look like half of 4K or near 4K with a few things. Like the game looks really, really sharp. Some stuff in motion might look a little weird or wobbly, and I see it a lot on PC and on console. But sometimes you're like, who cares? You get that performance boost. But my guy said, they state that PSSR will be the answer, then no, that's wrong. PSSR doesn't help a CPU bottleneck. It only applies to a GPU bottleneck. And like Digital Foundry said, that right now, from what they're seeing, because they don't know, they haven't played the game, they haven't got to plug it in. What they're seeing is all GPU bottleneck stuff, because the CPU is going to be hampered by tons of cars, tons of people, the Rage Physics engine or whatever they use. Yeah, there's a lot to cover. And it's very techy, but I want to present a really smart discussion about what we could be possibly looking at, because if only one console gets a performance mode, Rockstar is basically going to be selling their game to all these console users, and 80 to 90% of them will be playing the 30 frames game because they won't have access to the Pro. But hey, Meg, I mean, how many Pros are going to be sold if this thing is 60 FPS on only the Pro?
You still got the sticker shock. You know, the sticker shock at $700 is still a thing. Then if you're going to bundle in the game with it, maybe they'll sell it for a little bit cheaper, $750 or something with the game bundled in. Probably not, because these days there are no deals in gaming really these days. These days they're shooting for the stars with the prices these days.
Yeah, they are.
You know, you probably could be paying $760, $770 anyway, no matter what, even with a bundle. Unless, of course, I'm not even going to budge on that. I was going to say, unless, of course, Sony wants to swallow some of that cost in order to, for part of their marketing scheme, but they're not going to. So
no, they don't have to. It's supply and demand right now when that game comes out.
Right. It's still a sticker shock. Like, I mean, if you think about it, if you got the casual out there, whether they're on Xbox or PlayStation, and let's say they see, okay, fine, the PS5 Pro has the best version of the game. Am I going to spend damn near $800 US for one game? Right? Because if these people are not the same as like you and I or people in the chat who actually buy this stuff and actually play with. So like if they look at it, they're like, okay, right now I'm playing Fortnite and Roblox or whatever on my PS4, right? And then they're like, am I going to spend $800 just to buy the one game, and then I'm going to have GTA 6 plus Roblox and Fortnite? You know what I'm saying? And you're just going to go back to that. That's a huge amount of money. I'm not saying never, but I'm saying it's a tough sell with that kind of price, right? And then the thing is that the PS5, if the PS5 is not doing what the Pro is doing, then that's no different than the Series X and S. So at that point, it's just based on the price at that point, right? So, it's a conundrum. They have to talk about this. They're not going to talk about this in 2025. I can tell you that right now. The next time we're going to hear about this is going to be Q1. Maybe even right before the release. They might even wait right till the release, around the release. We're going to find out what's actually going on. So we're not going to hear about this for 10 months, dude.
Yeah, my prediction is like around 3 months before launch. If the game comes out in May, somewhere around February or March, we'll get the gameplay trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. If the game's coming out in May, that's when we'll know, because they'll probably show the game at 60 FPS if it has a performance mode. And they won't show a performance mode unless all the consoles are getting it. All the big consoles, right? Another thing I want to... another argument for it possibly being 60 FPS on the Pro is, let's pretend like Rockstar is like optimizing the game, and on the Series X and PS5 base model, it's running 45, 52 FPS. It's like... it's pretty smooth, but it's not hitting 60. Rockstar will drop it down and lock it at 30. This is exactly what happened with Starfield on the Xbox Series X. The game was running somewhere in the 40 to 50 range, close to 60 sometimes indoors, and it wasn't holding it. And so they said, instead of having a fluctuating frame rate, no developer wants that. They lock it at 30, and then they ramp up the rest of the leftover settings. So my point saying it is, if those consoles, the Pro, the PS5, and the Series X, are running somewhere around 50 FPS, the Pro might be able to eke out that extra 10 to 12% boost, because the Pro offers 3 to 4 more frames with a 60 FPS game, right? It offers a little bit of slight boost. It doesn't offer a doubling of frame rates. And PSSR or FSR, sorry this is so tech heavy, but it's important to discuss this. The frame generation stuff has not doubled frame rates. It offers, 17, 30% boost. And the Pro could push it over the edge. Like if the Pro is so close to hitting 60, the extra frame gen and the extra CPU boost in the Pro could tell Rockstar, well, this absolutely can run at 60. But it's not going to hold it on the other consoles, and that's one of the arguments why I think Detective Seed's guy could be right. That right now in the optimization stage, which I don't know when they start doing that. I think it's around 6 months, not 9 months or 10 months. In the optimization stage, the Pro is hitting it quite well, and the next thing they're going to do is work on the Series X and the PS5 base model to see if those also hit 60. But then again, I don't know. That's kind of my argument why it's very, very possible. Yeah, I don't know. It's I put out a poll that said, will GTA 6 be 60 FPS on the base model consoles? 66% of you are saying no. But I just gave you a really good argument why the Pro could hit 60. So, I don't know. What else is the chat saying? I could read some supers here, but let me get through these because they're probably a little bit older. But Rune, thank you for the Canadian 2, says happy Monday, Pookies. Andy Hart, thanks for the £5, says, Mag, are you enjoying the Silent Hill 2 remake? I've got to the prison and it's damn hard and brutal.
Oh, come on. I'm about to get there. I mean, I was having a good time up until this point, but yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. The only thing I've so far, like I'm doing my preemptive review on it as I'm playing it with the maggots. And the thing is, I'm down. I knocked 2 points off so far because there's nothing that bothers me more in a game than labyrinthine style gameplay where like you have to go from room to room, back to the room, go back to the other room, back to the room, back to the room, and then room, back to the room. And I'm like, I am going down the same hallway 65 times to just do busy work. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need a streamlined game, but at the same time, holy crap, there's like this there's an apartment level where there's like 3 levels of an apartment building, and you were literally just going from room back to room to room to room to room, and I'm like, this is getting tedious. And then once you get out of there, bang, the game just picks up right away. All of a sudden you're in Silent Hill, you're running around, you're going to the gardens, you're going here, you're going there, you're going to the hospital, you're doing all this stuff. And so like it's moving now, right? But that whole apartment level was just a drag. So but anyways, I'm really enjoying the game, really having a great time with it. So yes.
Awesome. I won't play it because it's scary. Dave Messer, thanks for the $5 super, says, Excellency Podcast, I come for Colt, but I stay for the mag. Have a great show.
Well, thank you very much. I was about to get really angry there until you said the second part.
I stay for the mag, but I come for Colt would have been good too. Andy Hart says, with the £5 super, says, my favorite Ubisoft game must be Far Cry 5. Yeah, kind of same. Yeah, that opening scene in the church is terrifying. Yeah,
it's a great game,
bro. You know that stuff really hits home. The Far Cry 5, like you're in Montana, there's like a religious cult, and like we've had that in history, right? We have like that in history where these small towns kind of have this kind of dangerous thing going on, and if you're religious at all, the way that guy like tries to be like, hey, it's good to love God and everything while you hold an AK, you know, it's pretty, that game's pretty intense. And I remember when this is for Andy, when Far Cry 5 was first shown, you know, there's like the America, F yeah, like you had the flying eagles and everything, and it kind of looked like a joke. And then you play it and it's like, dang, this is like the real deal. And then you're driving a, you know, Optimus Prime truck with machine guns on it. It's freaking mad. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, do you have a good memory of Far Cry 5 you want to share with the show here?
Yeah, there is. There's one level where you actually had to get all the cows to mate. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then of course, while the cows are coming together, they're playing Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On," and I'm like, what the hell is happening? And all the cows and the bulls start coming together, and then they start whatever, and then all of a sudden, Marvin Gaye just starts playing in the middle of the game. It says, "Let's get it on," and I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm like, this is the most insane thing ever. Yeah, and but the protagonist there, the cult leader, he was electric. And that's one thing about those Far Cry games. The bad guys are always so incredible to watch. Like, and they always pick such incredible, very intense actors to play those roles, right? And actresses also, because there was a sister in that game as well. And they're just so intense, and they get right up into the screen. Like, you notice that sometimes, like you're basically getting that first person view, and then that villain comes right up to you like this in the screen and just staring you down, and it feels like he's staring me down. I'm like, is he looking at?
Yeah, because they do the motion capture, like they get up in the camera and they're like,
yeah. They do that. Like, the last,
yeah. They do the whole thing, and
it's like Kevin Spacey in the Call of Duty game. Remember Advanced Warfare?
Yeah.
And Kevin Spacey played the bad guy in there, and there were a lot of monologues where Kevin Spacey went right up to the screen, and I'm like I would like
Kevin
find
Spacey's
myself
like,
moving back.
You want a massage?
Yeah, do you want a massage? Do you like lasagna? And then like he's just like, I'm like, he comes to the screen, and I find myself moving back from the screen. I'm like, he's making this very uncomfortable. But anyways,
the cult leader had his shirt off, and he had the beard and the glasses, and he keeps doing like the prayer arms thing. It's like, yeah. It's,
and then of course we had Giancarlo Esposito in Far Cry 6.
He was really good.
The one on the island.
Okay,
he was great in that one too, man. Yeah.
There's some people that didn't really like Far Cry 6, but it's a really fun game. But some of his scenes are so well done with his son. There's so much tension there. And I was surprised. Like sometimes I'm like, because your characters that you report back to at home base in the Resistance are like the Scooby-Doo squad. But when it gets those scenes with him, man, it's good stuff. So this is what it is, Mag. Ubisoft is a treasure. And they just need to fix some of their wrongs because they make incredible, great stuff.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Doesn't Ubisoft make Ghost Recon as well? Yes.
Yeah,
because
Ghost Recon. I did not like yeah, sorry, go ahead.
There's a report that they're working on a classic first-person style Ghost Recon game because they've been third-person for 15 plus years, and the very first two, I think, were first-person. But yeah, they said the report is their next Ghost Recon game is a first-person game, so that could be big. And Ubisoft needs a win. I love those guys. They make their mistakes and we call them out for it, but play Shadows.
But their games are good. Their games are good. They're just the company's run by whatever, but like the games, I enjoy the games, and I enjoy the formula, like the formula of their games, the loop and the game loops and everything else.
Yep.
I enjoy it, and I don't really get tired of it. Like Assassin's Creed, how many have I played? How many have I got 100% on? 15?
Yeah, we played like 15
Holy
Assassin's
crap.
Creed games. Everybody has.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then you know the thing is, then the Black Flag remake is coming soon, and I'm just like, I'm buying that too. I don't even care if they charge me full price. I'm gonna buy the Black Flag remake 100%.
I love that game.
And so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They always find a way to get me back in there. You know what I'm saying? And then Avatar, I really enjoyed Avatar. I really enjoyed it. At first, I didn't like it, and I'm just like, this is not what's happening.
That was the opposite.
Here? And then I'm just like, what is going on? I'm climbing trees. What is this? And then I figured it out. Then once I figured it out, and I'm like, I cracked the code, and I'm like, this game's really good.
How about when you when you cook in the little stove and your character goes every time? I loved Avatar, and then toward the end, I was like really upset by how lame it kind of got. But whatever.
Yeah.
I'm still, you know what, Meg? You'll hear me say this a lot. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I played Avatar.
Yeah, sure.
How about that? Okay, I got my money's worth.
Good. You got your money's worth. That's good enough. King 8608. Yes, the Black Flag remake is coming.
Yeah,
and it's coming soon.
Do you think it'll be this holiday? Because it's been they haven't said anything yet, and I feel like
it's wishy-washy.
Yeah.
It's wishy-washy. I don't have an answer. But like it was supposed to be this fall. Like it was like they had it like in stone. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do it this fall or whatever. And then they just pulled that back and they haven't spoken about it. So I'm just like, all right, are they gonna push it to Q1 now? 26? Like what's gonna happen? So I'm not really sure.
And the funny thing about Black Flag was I didn't play 3 where you play this Native American, and I thought it was just ridiculous looking at it from afar. I didn't play it till afterward. But when Black Flag got announced, I'm so surprised I'm saying that correctly because you can really flub those words. When Black Flag came out, I was like, oh, it's so dumb, and I was making fun of it. And then I sat down and watched a Rad Brad video, and he was playing the intro of it, 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes. And I'm watching it on YouTube, and I was like, I'm so back. And I've been back ever since. Yeah. KY Bob, thank you for the 10 so much for your support. says, was so pumped for the show tonight, fellas. Just get ready to kick back and enjoy good old gaming convo. Colt is going somewhere for the thumbnail, by the way. So sacrilegious to put those bangers of PlayStation and Xbox cases. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Gunler, thank you for the 5, says, Andor was Zorro in space.
Zorro in space.
Was it really? I didn't watch it.
Basically, yeah. And it's kind of funny they had a never mind. Yeah, so that's pretty funny.
I mean, Zorro was Mexican. You can say that. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat, thank you for the Australian 10, says, just for all you do for the community. We appreciate you so much. And
you're the best,
your
man.
sister, Karen's raisin potato salad. Can you imagine those two at the family reunion? Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat. Oh, my God.
And then sitting right next to Karen's raisin potato salad. What a fantastic duo that would make.
Yep.
I'm in.
Steven 4XB, thank you so much for the chat. Says, hey, Mag and Colt, so glad to see you guys on tonight. My thoughts on GTA 6 getting 60 FPS is a maybe to me, in my opinion, because of Rockstar's history. Rockstar's history is 30 FPS only, even as far back as table tennis. But, you know, every time someone says that, I'm like, yeah, that's their history, 30 FPS. But these consoles right now have never been more performant. Like, they perform really well like a PC. PC guys hate it when you say that. But for the most part, you're getting over 1080p, sometimes half of 4K at 60 FPS on most every big game. Like the big AAA amazing looking games. Like, they look great. Even if they aren't 4K or even they're just around 1080p, they still look amazing. And if you bought the console for $500 in the US, it's kind of a steal. My good friend Face23 Brooklyn, New York, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I know he would want to yes, although you want to key in on this. And I appreciate it. Colt, is the PS5 Pro still a scam? No, I was wrong when I said that. Absolutely. For $700, especially with the price hikes on the Xbox consoles, and for how some of these games look on the Pro, there is sticker shock, like Mag said. But hey, if that's what you want, and you want to upgrade your base PS5, you should do it because games look amazing on these consoles. He says, we are seeing more big improvements over the base consoles with Cyberpunk 2077. I'll add in, because I think it's Wu Chang Feathers as well. I'll add into what he didn't write because there's a limit. We are seeing Cyberpunk go up to 80 FPS with unlocked modes, and unlocked modes aren't available on the other two consoles. So you are seeing improvement. Now, if I saw over 90 FPS, here's the thing. If Cyberpunk was hitting 90 FPS, I would say, wow, that's a pretty big leap. Like, maybe Grand Theft Auto could go to 60. But remember, Cyberpunk 2077 was made for the base Xbox One and PS4. So having that extra frame rate is well expected for something as powerful as a PS5 Pro. Machine XP, thank you for the 2, says, Avatar third-person update. I'll finally give it a go. This is a good time, and hopefully you can get a good price on it. How much did you pay for your Avatar game?
I got it 50% off, and that was like the fall of last year, right? So I got it for 50% off on Black Friday, I think it was, or maybe it was before that. I can't remember, but either way, it was on sale because Ubisoft, they make great games, whatever, but they go on sale fast. So like usually now, funny enough, Assassin's Creed Shadows took a very long time to go on sale because I have it on wish lists, and I was just like, nope. Like every time there was a sale, and I checked both consoles, and there was never a sale, at least not ones that I caught. And I kept checking, there was nothing, and I'm like, that's unusual because usually like a month after release, they'll drop it 10%. 2 months after release, 25%. By 3-4 months, it's going down to 30%. Like they drop them fast for Ubisoft, right? So this one was 30%, and I bought it right away, immediately. So
yeah, I know some people have. Sir Bruvian, you remember Sir Bruvian? I don't remember. You know who Sir Bruvian is? The guy who started up his YouTube channel. He was like, "What are you smoking?" Because I said I was enjoying Star Wars Outlaws. I got it for $24, and I've easily got my money's worth already, and I'm not even halfway through the game. Another guy was like, "You're 20 hours in. It's a 20-hour game." I'm like, "It's open world. Let me do what I want to do." I've got like 27 quests and contacts of different things to do, and then riding around the speeder bike is just pure joy. It's just a great.
Wait till you
game.
Upgrade that thing to full tilt. You upgrade the speeder to like full.
I'm trying. There's so many upgrades.
Yeah, it's awesome though. And then even the ship.
Yeah, you have
when
the, you have the ship,
like,
you have the speeder, and your blaster that you have to upgrade. So I'm like stealing from all the factions I'm working with. It's just a cool game. Like I said, like Meg and I would tell you, if you can find a decent price on these games that people kind of dogged, but you're interested, usually if you can get a good price, you're going to end up getting a nice gem that will really give you some good entertainment for a little while. So. Yeah, Knights of Cypher says Outlaws is grossly underrated. It's a 75 on OpenCritic, which is not a bad score. Sits around Dead Island 2, which you and I love. 75 is not bad. I actually thought it would be lower. But, hey, that's Ubisoft for you. We love them, and I just want them to do better. I want them to improve. And I'm waving that flag. Like, you guys keep figuring it out and doing better because they provide some pretty good stuff in the industry. And make another Rayman game. Rayman. People hate it when I say Rayman. So I don't know. Did I cover? Let me look at this message from this guy about Grand Theft Auto being 60 FPS. They said, but not 60 FPS. I said, well, I mean, you mean will it be a better 60 FPS or will you get 60 FPS? They said if they use frame gen like PSSR uses. He said, no, it's not 60 FPS. It's an AI-generated frame in between the actual render frame. And I said, well, yeah, but you'll still be able to enjoy it at a 60 frames feeling. Like, you'll still be able to say it's 60. But he says it's snake oil. It's not real frame being generated by the hardware. So the counter will say 60, but you're actually at 30. I don't know if they're going to push it from 30 to 60. I said earlier, if they're using frame gen, they're probably getting that extra 10 frames that'll get you to 60. And for the most part, I think that will feel and look really good if Grand Theft Auto does that. But he says that PSSR can't be a catch-all. So, I don't know. Anything else that you comes to mind about this break from Detective Seeds?
No, it's again, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes and take it from there. Okay. But like I said, it's not my story, but I did report that someone that I spoke to that I highly regard did say that the report was accurate. Okay. And that's it. But other than that, I have nothing else to say. And you know what? I'm probably not going to say anything else about it until 2026 because the rest of 2025 is packed. and I can tell you this, Rockstar ain't going to say nothing until 2026. So I think at this point, we got the story, we discussed, we had our thoughts and feelings. Let's move on because we've got like 10 games coming up between now and November.
Yeah, we do.
And it's going to be a hell of a year.
I'm going to book in my last quick opinion that my best prediction is if there's a performance mode, it'll be across all those main consoles. But I can totally see how they can eke out that extra little bit if they're really close to 60, and that means the Pro would only have 60 FPS. But most of me thinks it's probably just going to be 30. But I am very hopeful because this is definitely something that you want to hope turns out the best for everybody involved. Let's move on and talk about Xbox getting games skipped. You made a video about this today. Thomas Mahler, who made Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps, who's been working on No Rest for the Wicked, which is kind of like a Diablo-style Dark Souls game, has had kind of mixed reception. He sort of has a trying past with Microsoft and Xbox, some public spats, but he made a statement and said that he is not sure he'll bring the game to Xbox at launch, that he'll just concentrate on the PS5 version and the PC version. And this really got people up in arms. Meg, you covered this in a video today. No Rest for the Wicked, a mainline game from a previously partnered studio, is saying Xbox ain't worth it.
So, yes, I did a video on it earlier. I had heard about rumblings of this on the weekend, and the reason why is because there was a memo that was going around that kind of got in front of me, not from them, but from someone else, and it got in front of me saying that they were discussing, the heads of Moon Studios were discussing and actually said in the room that Xbox and Switch are of the lowest of the, quote, lowest priority for the game. Right? It was never expanded upon. Like, I heard about that, but the story was never expanded upon beyond that. Then all of a sudden, this story starts coming out on Monday, and I'm like, is this what they were talking about? And so I went back and I started piecing it together. I'm like, oh, so this is what it's all about. So it turns out that is exactly what I had heard. Like, I thought it was just going to be something like, oh, they're just talking smack behind the scenes and whatever else. And then this story comes out today, and I'm like, holy crap, I didn't realize the ramifications of the news that I had received from, by the way, the same guy who I was just talking about the Detective Seeds thing. The same guy who just told me that was the one who told me this on Saturday. So he told me that, and I didn't get the connection because I didn't realize that there was a possibility that this game would not make it to the console at all for launch. For launch, he didn't say forever, but for launch. I'm going to read some of his tweets if you don't mind. So we got Thomas Mahler. Thomas Mahler's the CEO of the studio, and he said there's nothing to officially confirm yet. We want to support consoles, and just looking at the numbers, PS5 makes the most sense at the moment. Ultimately, we'll ship on all platforms, but likely not at the same time. So that's the first tweet. Then right after that, I think it was like right after, there's another guy, some guy named Alan Wake 198 or something. He responded and he said, it is simply not good enough as far as I'm concerned. I won't be supporting any studio that skips Xbox to prioritize PS5 or Switch. I'll spend my money on studios that release games day one and don't treat the platform that I'm stuck on with as an afterthought. That seems like a really stupid thing to say.
That's kind of telling, isn't it? What
are you, a prisoner?
Yeah, it's like a victim complex. Like, oh, they don't care about my console, and
But it's weird phrasing. But he says
the game is No Rest for the Wicked. Ice Cold asked what game.
Yes,
it's from Moon Studios. They made the Ori games. No Rest for the Wicked is it's like an isometric Souls type game. But yeah, it's kind of it's been in early access. It's been kind of had some trouble stuff going on, but it's need a lot of work.
So Thomas Mahler responded to him, and he said, "Entitlement much?" And then he put, "It costs a ton of resources to make a full console." Yeah, he did say that. It costs a ton of resources to make a full console port. As I said, ultimately will be on all platforms, but that'll take some time. Moon is about quality above all. So if we do something, we want to take the time to do it right. So he did say that. So that's what's going on. So anybody who's not in the know or didn't watch my video today, that's what happened. So they were discussing that whole situation. Now the thing is, which I talked about in my video, was that it seemed kind of unusual. Yes, I understand there were tensions between Moon Studios and Microsoft in the past because of the whatever. However, they did have a good symbiont relationship for a while with those two Ori games that were wildly successful, right? And so it seemed kind of strange.
They had a strain. They had a bit of a strain thing. I might be able to shed a little bit of light on that in a second.
Sure, go ahead. But I'm just saying that. I mean, those games, I mean, if anybody knew anything about those games, I mean, they were pretty synonymous with Xbox at one point. I mean, geez, Rand got his millionth point, achievement point on that when he was live at E3 with Phil, right? When he did it live on the stage, and then he got his 1 millionth achievement point on there on Ori.
That was it. That's what made him famous.
That's what made him, famous. Let's not get crazy. It's Rand we're talking about here. But anyway, I'm just kidding, Rand. Relax. Jeez. He probably just sat up like a bolt right out of his bed. He said, what? Anyways.
He's in the what do you call it? In the Willy Wonka movie, what's the name of the family? The Bucket family bed. Yeah. He's like...
He's in the Bucket family bed with 6 other people listening to this podcast.
By the way, the original Willy Wonka movie is 10 times better than the second one. I've heard the third one. Of course
it is.
Yeah, the music's so good. But we're old. Like, that music is amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder is Gene Wilder. I mean, Johnny Depp is amazing, and Johnny Depp did an interesting little take on Willy Wonka. It was kind of interesting, but it's no Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder's king.
Yeah, I love Johnny Depp, but I didn't like his Willy Wonka. But Gene Wilder is just legendary.
He's a legend.
I'm going to paraphrase something that somebody sent to me so that nobody gets in trouble. But Ori and the Will of the Wisps showed up at E3 2019. But I think it was supposed to be shown at the Xbox E3 showcase in 2018. But the developer behind Ori, Thomas Mahler, needed more money to finish the game, and there was like an argument between Microsoft and Xbox and Moon Studios about how much money they were allocating toward the budget of the game. And this is what happens when games get delayed. The studio comes to the publisher and is like, we need more money because I need to pay my employees an additional 6 months to 12 months to continue working and keep the lights on. And they're like, well, we already paid you in the contract for 3 or 4 years. Why do you need 5, right? So there was a big argument between the head of global publishing and Thomas Mahler for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which eventually led to the game coming out in 2020, I think. And it did really well, but that relationship between Xbox and Thomas Mahler was strained, and there were public reports in the gaming news in like 2021 about how Moon Studios doesn't like Xbox anymore and how they want to make their own game without Xbox, which he did. And yeah, it's just, and to see Thomas, I'm going to say this because I do it all the time, but to see him kind of snap back at people when they challenge him, like, this is a difficult thing when you're a game developer. You and I have said this a lot on the show. You're a game developer. You create magic. Shut up. Like, you don't need to go on social media. Let your game speak, because you are the, and this is our compliment to them. You create the magic. Like, you should just make your stuff and stay quiet. Don't put yourself in hot water, because your game is the whole reason why we're here. And
you're not a developer, though. You're the CEO of the company. That's even worse.
Yeah, and he's
right?
holding this woman, you know. Oh my gosh, I was so sick of that Coldplay CEO thing over the weekend. It got just beat into the ground. That meme, and it was just like recreated a million times. Like, I saw it first thing in the morning. By lunch, I was sick of it. Like, sometimes you have fun with it for a day or two, but I was like, this is not even that funny anymore. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Did Thomas Mahler, like, was he
next week? So.
What's that?
I said Colt and I are going to the Coldplay concert next week. So, memers out there, please.
Somebody meme that of Mag and I.
Somebody meme that. I get memes sent to me all the time. It's actually pretty funny. That one I sent you of you and I hugging next to the lake was the funniest.
It was like it was like a King of the Hill art style of Mag and I, and we're embracing, and like, I'm gonna have to put it on a Valentine's card. Oh my gosh.
It was pretty funny. Mysterious, I agree, man. A 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Anyways.
For what?
No, nothing. We're not going to discuss that. We're not going to get into it.
Okay.
And I hated the dog, too. The dog was annoying. Anyhow, yes, the Moon Studio situation. So now there could be that at that point, if they had a bad relationship in the past, you could say, now this is just speculative, okay?
Sure.
But, you never know. Maybe he's just like, you know what, screw those guys. I'm going to prioritize PS5 and just do my thing. I'll give it to Xbox later on down the road.
I'm not sure if that's what it is, but I don't know.
Just said I'm speculating. They had a spat. It was pretty public, like a couple of years ago. Like, you never know. And all of a sudden he's like,
you want to get messy, Mag?
No. Shh. Yeah, why not?
Okay,
I mean, I got to pee, so I'm going to go pee my pants.
Okay, let me whisper this. So if we whisper it, it doesn't go out on the internet to as many people.
Okay, so like Digital Foundry?
Yeah, I like Digital Foundry. Except they get lots of views. So what if that spat, what if it, like, he's like, why should I prioritize Xbox, right? But what if he's like, you know what? I'm going to make them beg for it. I'm going to make them, they're going to come to me to get their game. Because if I say, this is speculative, we're just messing around. If I say, I'm not going to be able to, we don't have the resources to go on Xbox console, they're going to lose sales on a game, and they're going to get the public perception that has been plaguing them all generation and last generation. And they're not going to sit there. The team is going to reach out and say, what can we do to make this happen? And what that means is you twist the arm and you get a little extra money to port your game to Xbox than you did to PlayStation. Go take a leak, and I'll keep talking if you need to.
You keep talking. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. Now I'll go back to normal volume. But that was my first thought, was what if he's, why should I do them any favors? They've made it difficult for me. And my team is small, and I could use the extra resources to be on a smaller platform, because Xbox sells less copies than a PlayStation because there's fewer users. So how about you make the juice worth the squeeze? And then I'll see if I can be there on day and date. Just according to Windows Central says that it could be very likely that the game comes out on Xbox and PlayStation at the same time, But as it stands right now, he's not sure if they're going to make it on the Xbox console. As a fan, are you thinking, well, screw Moon Studios, you know? I don't look at it that way. I look at, do I care about No Rest for the Wicked? I've had a few people recommend that I play the game. They've said it's very challenging. There's a couple games kind of like No Rest for the Wicked that I haven't even really played very long because they didn't really fit my play style or what I wanted to play. So I'm not really interested in No Rest for the Wicked. But as somebody who sits here and talks to you guys that are excited about different games that I don't play, I would like to speak for you and say, hopefully they are making that work. And I hope there isn't some sort of a, for this much money, think we could be day and date along with PlayStation. And there are gaming politics that go at play there. And I know a lot of people speculated about that. But, I would say a good chunk of that responsibility lands on Xbox themselves. And they, maybe they do have to pony up a little extra money, if you'll pardon the word. Pony up a little bit extra money for, having this problem where developers are like, is it worth it to spend all the time for certification, the porting process on your development kits that are more laborious than they are on the PS5? That's well documented. PS5 is easier to port to. It's a quicker process. Xbox has more security checks, and their whole process for achievements and Xbox Live and everything is just takes more work. So, I don't know. Moon Studios is just another studio. Like, they're more prominent studio than some of the indie devs that might be skipping Xbox. So, yeah. Mysterious in the chat says, do you think AAA games are dying? Kind of. Right now, Mysterious, it doesn't matter if you're AAA or AA or an indie. What matters to everyone, the market, the consumers, the journalists that are reporting on, is your game amazing? Because you can be 30 people with Sandfall, with Expedition 33, and you can knock everyone out of the running for Game of the Year, sales, most people playing, just because you made something absolutely incredible. And I don't think people use AAA anymore, so it's just past couple of years, as a major bragging point. They just talk about how incredible the game can be. KY Bob, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, our 4080 Supers, because KY Bob and I both have the same GPU, with Zen 3 CPUs are still dragging these consoles through the mud, Colt. I kid. He's being PSCMR. He says, great show. Keep up, fellas. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah. The CPU and nice gaming rigs are like $300. It costs as much as a small console. So watch out for that stuff. It gets expensive. Christian 5916, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, says, I blame Xbox for any good or bad or great or terrible game that skips a platform because they say, quote, when everybody plays, we all win, except Xbox owners. Xbox does miss games. I went back. I do this from time to time. I know it sounds weird, but I watched one of my older videos. Last year, I did a video about why this console generation has been a disaster. I broke down all the studio closures, the game closures, Concord, Redfall, price hikes, tariffs, everything, shortages. And in that video, I was talking about how there's this perception that Xbox misses all these games. Unfortunately, smaller devs that make really great gems decide to skip Xbox, or Japanese developers skip Xbox. That needs to end. But I think maybe Xbox is kind of skirting around that in the future by allowing other storefronts on their platform. You'll still be able to buy the game. Somebody's going to make the money, and you'll still get to play the game, and that money's being spent in the ecosystem somehow. So anyway, Meg, I think that covers No Rest for the Wicked. This might be just a passover. Have you heard anything about Contraband? Because there was a recent job listing that just talked about the work, but you can still work on the game right before it gets canceled.
Yeah, we know that. Just asked a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, I still haven't heard anything about Contraband. Nothing. It just dried up. And then I think maybe even the people that I talk to just don't care anymore. So they just it doesn't even come up in conversation. I mean, it came up in conversation for a while. I had some not videos. I had some video footage, some screenshots, whatever, talked about it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Excuse me. And then it just died.
Yeah. I think until we see something, that trailer is nothing at this point, especially being almost 5 years. Let's move on to the real discussion of tonight. And this is the possibility of PlayStation moving their exclusives to the Xbox platform. And it was announced a couple of weeks ago that Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox. We covered this a couple weeks ago on the show, but it has ramped up a conversation among a lot of Xbox podcasts that we watch and we hang out with, that it's highly possible that PlayStation is going to put more of their games on the Xbox. You and I talked about this last week, but now Jez Corden and Randall Thorpe talked about it on Xbox 2 a little bit and kind of hinted about it. Jez Corden put up a poll and it said, which game would you like to see next come to the Xbox? God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Returnal. And it got me thinking about Returnal being a smaller game that could be like maybe a test subject. It didn't sell incredibly well. I think it sold about 500,000 copies, maybe 1 million by now. But it would be a really good game to sell on the Xbox and entice people to get day and date on Soros, their like spiritual successor, and get people onto the PlayStation platform, or boost the sales with more people playing Returnal in the near future. But Meg, I know you've probably talked about this on other podcasts as well, but it's sounding very likely that PlayStation doesn't give a rat's A anymore. They already know that the games are coming to Xbox via Steam. What they might do is just say, in a year, this is all not going to matter. They'll be able to play Spider-Man, the latest God of War, Ragnarok, and whatever on their Xbox console through Steam. How about we meet Xbox in the middle and say, instead of taking 30% or giving 30% to Steam, how about we cut you a deal and we'll get the game on your console, but we get 80% instead of 70%. As PlayStation would say, we would get more money for you because we're bringing it to your console. And we'll bring you the native port through our, Nixus or whatever. I think it's a high likelihood that PlayStation is seriously considering just saying, doesn't matter, we're still going to sell PlayStations, but we're going to make money off of Xbox's back like they're starting to do with us. What's your take on this?
Yeah. I wouldn't expect anything new. So you're not going to be getting no day and date like Xbox. Not a chance in hell. That will never happen. However, if you're looking at some of these older games, like let's say your 8-year-old Spider-Man, well, let's go with the remakes.
Is it
of like
8 years old already?
2017.
You like math.
Yeah. So, and then Last of Us 1 and 2 being 5 years old, I guess, with the remake of Last of Us, the first one. And then, of course, Last of Us 2 remake came, or not remake, a remaster came out last year. But, I mean, that game's also 5 years old. They could do something like that to entice even more people to go over there, because then they're saying, hey, if you want to play Last of Us 3, you have to buy a PS5, PS6 or whatever, right?
Sure.
I could see that. In terms of like what Microsoft is doing, there's no chance in hell that they're doing the exact same business model. Not even close.
Okay.
If you're expecting God of War Egypt to show up on Xbox day one, or Asus ROG Ally XXX Series XXXY, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it on PC day one. You're not getting it on an Xbox day one. You might have to wait a few years, but you will get it. If they decide to do this, then you will get it. Their priority is still to sell the consoles. Their priority is still to sell PS5.
Well, I mean, Hiroki Totoki didn't say that. That was not his recent quote. His recent quote was, we've moved from... I think I said it 2 weeks ago. We've moved from marketing the console to marketing the game.
Yes, that's not... Yeah, I did hear that as well. But they were talking about it, and they said that the priority will still be the PS5 and the PS6. When they were talking about what's happening at this point, they're already crossing 100 million. They're like, okay, we got 100 million out there.
PS6 is top of mind, was their quote. Yeah.
That's right, top of mind. So when you get over to about 100 million consoles, then you start focusing on the software, because now you've got the foundation laid of 100 million consoles in the wild. Then you start pushing out those big games to get those sales up, and that's what gets the numbers up. But at that point, like for example, look at the beginning of the generation for some of the games that were PS5 exclusive that were not cross-generational with the PS4. They didn't sell incredibly well because there weren't enough units out there. There was the pandemic happening, and then of course just the general sales of the console. It wasn't enough to say, okay, we could sell 5 million or 10 million of Returnal. Right? Returnal.
That's funny how cross-gen. That's funny how cross-gen was mocked so hard the first 2 years. And then PlayStation, Xbox realized that staying, supporting the old consoles was actually really healthy for the industry. Because it was like if you cut off Xbox One and PS4, you were the best platform ever. But then they realized that was the opposite for the health of the industry and for franchises. So,
yeah. So Anyway, that's what I see happening if they decide to do that at all. No one's saying they are. There's a lot of speculation. I didn't hear anything from any of my people. Anybody else I've talked to hasn't heard anything as well. They're saying, no, I haven't heard about this. But the Spider-Man thing keeps cropping up, right? So I'm like, well, it's got to be coming from somewhere. I mean, unless it's just like one of those broken telephone things. But I don't know. I'm not hearing anything concrete.
Yeah, right.
About this. But it just seems like the rumor. Like every 2 days on Twitter, I see another picture of Ellie standing next to an Xbox symbol, and I'm like, where's this coming from? Are people just making this up, or is this like rumblings from below that's bubbling to the surface? We don't know I could ask around, but no one seems to say anything. Malik, you've been a jackass all night, and you're going to actually get it. And I'm being dead serious right now. This is the same guy, by the way, that 4 minutes ago said that the PS5s will not sell when GTA launches. Other people in the chat were like, dude, whatever
PS5s
you're
or PS5 Pros?
No, he said PS5s.
PS5s will fly out of the stores. And the Xbox will sell really, really well when that game comes out. Yeah, that's going to be... There are,
Maverick,
Meg, you said it perfectly. You said there are probably 50 million people on the old gen consoles that are gonna. There's a lot of there's not 50 million of them that are gonna jump, but a lot of people are gonna be like, fine, I have to jump. Like, there's gonna be PC guys who will not buy a console that are gonna go buy a console when that game comes out.
Yeah,
and there's gonna be the ones that wait. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, you were sorry, Malik. You guys derailed me. We
were talking about how if they decide to do this, I don't see what the damage is. Like for example, if the games are already in PS Plus, like for example, like your Spider-Mans, your Last of Us's, your Ratchet and Clanks, your God of Wars, they're already in the PS Plus service right now. Why not put them over there and make a boatload of money? Because apparently all the people, yeah, but what I am going to do is I'm going to be very happy for the day when I see. I was going to say something on Twitter the other day, but just don't stay out of it. But it was going to be like, hey, wait a minute, toxic people, not the good people, not the people in this chat, minus Malik, but everybody else, toxic ones. I go, I thought PlayStation was nothing but sad dad, one and done, over the shoulder, nothings. And now you're going, we want this, we want God of War, we want this, we want that.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm like, I see you, all you clowns. I see all you, not you guys in the chat. You guys rock, man. All 665 of you in the chat absolutely rock. And most of the people that watch after it, you're all awesome. But I got to tell you, those other ones that you see on Twitter, these are the same clowns that if you go back and you look at all the crap that they were talking about those games, and now what are they doing? I see them all responding to Jez's, he did his little thing. Where he's like, which games would you like to see when he did the poll? And I see them all commenting. I go, I remember that guy saying this and that and whatever. I remember, and you know why I know who they are? Because a lot of those guys are the guys who used to comment on my Ponymaster 420 videos, and they used to say all these horrible things or whatever. Yeah, and I'm like, guys, I'm just doing this as a joke. Don't take it so seriously. But they did, and I'm like, and they're the ones going, well, we need Last of Us on Xbox. Yeah. We need God of War on Xbox. I'm like, funny how that works.
The Beer Baron in the chat points out very astutely that PlayStation guys did the same thing. Like, Halo sucks, Gear sucks. Of course. Like, Meg's calling out the absolute fanboys, and they are on both sides. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. I want to hear your thoughts.
I think that PlayStation is seriously considering putting fair games on Xbox day and date. They've got Marathon coming. They know that Marathon on Xbox is not going to save the game if they think that it's going to be rough. Like we think it could be rough for Marathon.
Sure.
But PlayStation would be seriously considering some live service games launching across all platforms.
Makes sense.
But they also could be considering some test bed games like Xbox did. The funny thing about Project Latitude, and I'm not saying this isn't going to happen, but most of the big Xbox games haven't made it to PlayStation yet. And it's so strange. Like, Starfield's not there. Avowed's not there. Doom the Dark Ages was there. It's funny, like, the legacy games went real quick. Like Doom and Outer Worlds existed on the PlayStation, so they were day and date. But it's funny that South of Midnight, it took a while it took over a year for Hellblade. Part of this is because the teams, it's like PlayStation and their PC ports or their other ports, it takes time because their studios aren't going to do all the work. They're going to farm that out. So there's no Halo, there's no Gears on PlayStation yet. It'll be there pretty soon. But Project Latitude is just getting started, and we all act like Xbox is full third party. We all act like PlayStation's third party and full, with one of their most prominent games, Helldivers, coming to Xbox. The real reality for all of you guys to kind of like sit down, settle down, and realize is that PlayStation and Xbox no longer have a sancrosanct, very pure notion of exclusivity anymore. The only one who does that is Nintendo, because they're just bonkers. They're making games they made in 1986 and they're killing it. Like, hey, you know that game we made in 1992? Yeah, just make that again and just make it a little bit better. And they're killing it. So they don't even go into this discussion. They're amazing. They're magical. But Xbox and PlayStation no longer have this very virginistic look of how exclusivity should be anymore. They're changing the rules. To see even PlayStation say, you know, Helldivers is an amazing success. The players have dropped off. Dude bros on Xbox are going to eat this up, and hopefully it does really well. My thumbnail saying that PlayStation games are coming to Xbox. Mag said that Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man game is almost 8 years old. Would they put that on Xbox? Would Marvel make them? No. PlayStation would decide to do it. Would they make a boatload of money? Absolutely. The question is, do they have time to do that port? And do they want to do that? Because I think PlayStation doesn't care so much about the sales of their consoles. They care about the perception of the value of the brand of PlayStation. And they're already deciding to dilute that perception a little bit by saying, you know what, I think this or some of these older games. And that's why I think a game like Returnal would be the perfect test case to say, would it sell a couple 100,000? You know, it sold 500,000 in the opening months on PlayStation. Could we get like 100,000, 250,000 across Xbox? You know, it's already on PC. Could we? Would it be worth the porting? That's what they have to do. And I think once they break the seal, PlayStation can look at Uncharted, the Legacy Collection. They can look at, like Mag said, the old Last of Us games, or the first one, and make people wait for the second one or go buy it on a PS5, or the third one, like you said. It's PlayStation could weasel a deal with Xbox, take far more of the majority profit from hosting the game there.
For sure they could.
And it is a win-win, because as a diehard Xbox fan, Mag, PlayStation can sell some of their best games on Xbox and still outsell the Xbox 2-1 in this current market, no problem. And I think everybody wins.
What I think it is for me is it's anticipation of further titles to get you to go over there. Not saying that they're trying to steal or poach people from Xbox to go over there permanently and say, oh, I'm selling my Xbox, I'm just going to go over PlayStation now. Whatever happens in that respect. But I think that this is a little bit different. Like if you look at the two sides of the coin here, the way that PlayStation is doing it is not out of desperation. I think at this point they've realized that there's no console war. They've curb stomped it, and so now they're like, okay, well, we own the market.
Yep.
Xbox is non-existent. Shit, even Xbox doesn't even want to be part of Xbox anymore.
No, I mean,
Christ.
To correct it, even Xbox doesn't want to fight the console war anymore. It's not worth it.
But you see what I'm saying? They're trying to actively push people out of the consoles. They don't want to keep doing consoles. I'm telling you right now, and I know as a fact, they don't want to. They want to push you onto other hardware to get away from making consoles. We've talked about this a million times on this show. How they want to get you onto PCs, onto these ROG allies, and Asus, whoever's making whatever they're going to be happening in the future. They're trying to slowly push you out because they don't want to do that. Why do you think Game Pass costs so much on console and half the price on PC? They're trying to attract more people off the PC. So you know what I mean? You don't even realize it's happening. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. But anyways, what's happening is, I think at this point, Sony's just like, listen, man, we rule the roost. It is what it's going to be what it's going to be. There's always going to be a fan base over an Xbox. No one's saying it's dead. We're not going to have big things that been dead with me biting my fist or whatever, little thumbnails. I'm just saying the fan base is all going to be, or this. Does anybody recognize this face?
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, hey there, gamers. So anyways, back to the story.
Absolute bloodbath.
There's going to be a fan base always there. However, at that point, they could say, listen, man, send over Spider-Man. See what happens. Send over Spider-Man 2 and Miles Morales, right? You're not getting them on Game Pass, by the way. You're going to be paying full price for this.
Yep.
Sony's not going to charge you.
Yep. $70 and you will love it, and it'll sell like hotcakes.
And you get the Uncharted, what the hell was it called? The Thieves
Legacy?
Collection, whatever.
Legacy Collection.
Legacy of Thieves. Legacy of Thieves edition. The one where they had like whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, Legacy of Thieves is where they had Uncharted 4 and the one with the girl.
Don't they have the original trilogy collection as well?
Yes, they do.
That's the one
I
wanted
called
to
the
buy.
Uncharted. Oh, I bought them all. It's called the just Uncharted collection, whatever. And then they had the Legacy of Thieves one, which was the remaster for the PS5
with the
That's
four
where they had
and the DLC.
4 and the DLC, which
I like the DLC
phenomenal.
more than 4. I like the DLC more than 4.
The expansion was better than Uncharted 4. It was remarkable.
Yeah,
what the hell was it called? Anyways, I can't remember. Either way,
Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy. Nathan Drake collection. Thank you, A2.
There it is.
Anyways,
5% too.
So you do the same thing that Xbox is doing in that respect. However, live service games, you release them day and date. That doesn't make a difference. You get your marathons. Obviously not Helldivers because that was an afterthought. But I'm saying like at any other future game that you're going to have a live service, release it day and date and expand your market even further. Why not? It'll help out Xbox gamers. It'll help out PlayStation gamers and PC gamers. It's all there and whatever else. But if you want to play God of War Egypt, you're playing it on a PlayStation 6 and you're paying $800 for that console.
Yep. Absolutely.
You're not getting that on an Xbox. And it's like you can get it halfway through the generation. But they're gonna exhaust the sales of the game before they even consider it. Then they're gonna put it on PS Plus. They're gonna exhaust that. When they see those metrics go down as to how many people downloaded the game on PS Plus, then they're gonna send it over.
Okay. I like that. I can jive with that. I can jive.
The possibility of cannibalizing themselves in that respect, just to get the smallest player base out there, not a chance.
Yeah. The other issue, Mag makes a really compelling point, but the other issue is PlayStation knows they cannot block their games being played on Steam through the next Xbox device. Okay.
Correct.
Sarah Bond and Lisa Su have already said that you're going to be able to access other storefronts. So, to put it plainly, there are about 50 of PlayStation's best games available right now on Steam. And if PlayStation knows they can't block it because of terms of service, and they don't want to block it, that they can either give Steam 30% or they can get it direct to the Xbox console and say, how about we give you 18% or we give you 15% or maybe even 10? Like, because you can strong mark. Xbox is in they're not in the negotiating position because they are last in the console market. The next generation console will have more games, plus most of the PlayStation games if it has PC, right? So they're in a way better position. So PlayStation can say, we'll port our games to the Xbox. We'll have one of our developers port the game to your console, but we want 90% or we want 85%. And Xbox will probably listen to that and go, okay. Because if they put Spider-Man's the easy one. Spider-Man would sell 5 to 10 million copies on an Xbox console easily. But then again, if you can just launch it on Steam, why not buy it on Steam for let me look real quick.
Well, Colt, what's behind you right now? Do you not have the handhelds right behind you? You got a Steam. You got a
I don't
Steam
want to
Deck
play.
Or whatever
I don't
else.
want to play games on a handheld until I'm on a plane.
No. I know. But what I'm saying is,
Spider-Man's $60 right now. I thought it'd be cheaper than that on Steam.
No, not a. Yeah.
Okay.
Now here's the thing.
Yeah.
You play on PC, Colt. Right? You play on PC. You've got your Xbox ecosystem on your PC. You have access to all those PlayStation games as well. Do you not? Yes, you do. So this is no different. This is no different than what's happening there, right?
Okay.
Now the thing is, at that point, this is all PC. The way that this is going to tie in, and this is what I was going to get into. The way this is going to tie in is that once Xbox makes that move off the consoles and starts having only PC as what they're going to do, as they have these, this is an Xbox box, but it's actually just the PC running Windows, then PlayStation could just move everything over there without further development. Because as it stands right now, they have to develop for PC, which is fine. They do their PC port. And then what do they do from there? Then they would have to develop for an Xbox Series consoles, which are not compatible with that Windows 11 architecture that they're using for PC. So that would be extra work for them.
Oh, good point. Because last generation will be supported far longer than this next generation coming up. Yeah.
Asus ROGs and on, I know you'll be able to access PlayStation games there, but that whenever this next Xbox is, whoever's making it will be running Windows 11. I don't think that Sony would even have to bother by having two separate teams port, one for the Xbox console, one for the PC. Once Xbox makes that full move to the PC in a box, you're going to see PlayStation games going over there a lot easier. The day and date with PC, not day and date with PlayStation, day and date with PC. So whenever, let's say, I'll just make up a name, whatever. Uncharted 5, okay? Uncharted 5 comes out for PlayStation 6.
Please.
I know, Jesus Christ, would you just make the game already? Someone fired Neil Druckmann.
Hey, and don't hate me, but I would like Uncharted 5 to be Nathan Drake's daughter. I would love that.
Get Amy Hennig back and get rid of Cuckman. Get Amy Hennig back. Yeah. Anyways,
and
so
Bruce
what I'm thinking is this. Yes, please. PS6 it comes out. Then let's say a year later, 6 months later, whatever the hell.
PlayStation podcast tonight?
Then you release it on Xbox, the Xbox, and PC day and date whenever it releases on PC. So it'll release simultaneously because it's the same architecture.
Sure.
It's all running on Windows. So that's the play. That's what I think the play is going to be. Because they're going to waste resources.
Meg's referring to the high possibility that in about a year and a half from now, in about a year from now, we could have access to buy an OEM Xbox console that's basically like a PC Steam box thing. And it would have the architecture to play. I made this video last Tuesday. It's like 6 days old. I'll break it down for the people who didn't watch my video. AMD's making the SoC. Okay, right there. That's the Xbox One X board, okay? That's the SoC for the Xbox Scorpio. So next generation, AMD's working on a chipset like that for PlayStation and one for Xbox. So this one is set to play Xbox games. So in the future, next year, AMD could make the Xbox chipset right there. And then Lenovo or Asus can take that chipset and build a PC TV box for it. Okay, so I covered this a lot better in the video, but what that means is with the Windows 11 integration, it would play all the PC games, but it is a native chip for Xbox. So all of the games you own absolutely play on it. I mean, it's the very first thing it would do is play your Xbox games. So you could play all your Xbox games on this PC thing and play all the PC stuff. And there's no licensing restriction because that thing is physically, that chipset right there is actually the Xbox. So that's the future of what's going on. So Mag's saying they may just say, hey, if they're doing this around November of 2026, why port games to Xbox when they can just buy them all on Steam? My other argument is, if they strike a deal with Xbox and say, seriously, you only take 15%, you're in. We'll start porting games when we can, but it's going to be a while. Expect a year or two for Spider-Man, and then we'll think about the next games, or maybe we'll start with Returnal or something. But
that's what I'm saying.
The wheels are turning. Executives and leadership at Xbox and PlayStation know this. They don't hate each other. They want to do like a front of the yard handshake and say, how can we make more money than you while you guys still make some money? It could be possible. I got to give a big shout out to Detective Seeds. But when Mag and I were talking, showed up in the chat, gifted 10 channel memberships. He missed it because earlier in the show we were absolutely making fun of the way he looks and what he smells like, and we were saying we don't know. We were having a good time talking about his big tweet. We appreciate you for being here, and he's a good friend of the show, and I've talked to him many times for a long time in party chats. We used to talk for very, very long. Paris says possible. It's happening. Paris, I don't know if you're referring to like these deals where they're shaking hands and say, hey, exclusivity as we know it is going to dissolve in its own way, and everybody's going to be the better for it. I say this, I make that quote, people get mad at me, but exclusivity will no longer be this full restriction thing. It is going to dissolve away in different ways. Xbox will do it more than PlayStation said. Like Mag said, they're going to wait and put older games on Xbox when they've exhausted. That was perfectly said, Mag. But I think you'd be foolish to think there's no way in hell that PlayStation is going to port a game on Xbox. They're already doing it right now. And Helldivers 2 was a big example. You could say it was games of service. You could say that Arrowhead, maybe Arrowhead said, hey, we want to do our own thing. And PlayStation said, well, you guys are amazing. We don't want to lose you as a bespoke partner. And they're like, well, let us put the game on Xbox and we'll stick around and do one more game with you. Hey, that might be happening, but PlayStation games are coming to Xbox, and I don't think it's over with Helldivers, and I'm going to stand on that right now, and eventually I'll be right. I think it's going to be soon.
Well, I say that their multiplayer games will go there. First, okay. like I'm talking like single player, whatever, the big bad experiences. I don't mean bad in a bad way. I mean bad as in a Michael Jackson bad way. A big bad way, like your God of Wars and stuff, you will never see those.
You know, I'm such a nerd. Like I know the fat version more than I know the bad. I don't even know the lyrics of the bad song like I know the fat version from Weird Al. Yeah. That's me. Yeah. Because fat is a better song than bad, even though it came afterward. That's my take. Sorry, man.
I know. You know, there's someone in the chat. I can't read your name because I read earlier in the chat that your son was screwing around with your name and then changed the font. So this is what it sounds like to me. It looks like it says Jabba 684.
It's Hut speak from Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, is it in Huttese? Like
it is Huttese.
Looks like yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like, oh no, Xbox Pajawa Wookie.
Bro, when I was, you had to go to Jabba's palace in an early main mission, and I turned, and there was Solo and Kryptonite, and it looked, the interior and everything looked just like the movie, dude. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
dude, there was even steam coming off of the. There was even steam coming off the top of the carbonite because they were keeping it cold or whatever. Yeah. I don't know how. And I was just like, this is amazing. And I actually filmed a shot, or not filmed. I downloaded like a little clip of me walking through. Yeah, I filmed it with my rotary camera. And then there's Salacious Crumb, and then there's like and then there's Bib Fortuna.
Oh my gosh, Jabba, you know that name. He's a little.
I know the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa!
Hello, everybody. Yeah.
They're all there. So I walked by him and I got Salacious Crumb, Bib Fortuna, and then of course you've got Jabba sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then you walk by Jabba and then I'm like, oh, and then you see the two spotlights and you see like the mist and the steam and the beautiful lighting system that Ubisoft uses, and you just see Han Solo and Carbonite, and I'm like, oh.
I mean, they're emulating the movies, like the 70s and 80s movies perfectly. That's so great. I'm so glad I played it and listened to you and Dante and Holly. Like you guys were like, it's great, go play it. And Dealer was like, dude, you need to upgrade the guns and stuff, and it becomes incredible. I was like, I don't know, I was kind of lame in the beginning. Now I'm like, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, we talked about Star Wars Outlaws for 8 hours today. It's great.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know, Meg. I think we kind of put our predictions in pretty well.
Yeah, man.
I think it's happening.
You know. Here's my thing. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see everybody having a good time gaming. That's what I'd like to see.
Wouldn't it stop the fighting? Or would it make it worse?
Never stop the fighting because there's always idiots. Yes, Alfonso. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I'm showing that message. listen, man. I mean, people are going to be idiots. People are going to be toxic. People are going to get fired. There was literally only like one or two like toxic things that said in the chat tonight. That's it. But everybody else, pretty cool, pretty chill. Even if we don't agree with each other, doesn't make a difference.
We kind of have the best
awesome
chat
about this. Yeah, man. Dude, this XNC is the best chat. And
it really
is.
is.
At the end of the day, why don't we just have a great old time? And except Ice Cold, you just.
You're done for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, blue number. I'll check my DMs after. Anyways, wouldn't it be nice if people just have games and instead of fighting all the time? But the
Paris in
crazy
chat
thing
says,
is you have an opinion, people lose their friggin' minds.
Paris in chat says, when the Horizon live service game is on Xbox, it's kind of hard when you say that because it's not really a name for that franchise, but he means the Horizon Zero franchise. I don't know what to call it. But he says the Horizon franchise from PlayStation, when that's on Xbox, you might as well bring Aloy too. Like I put in the thumbnail, it's 9 years old or 8 years old. Yeah, 9 years old. Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn has a complete edition. It would be an amazing port to the PlayStation or to the Xbox. I can't speak anymore. But would they or should they? Like, do they need to? I don't know. I think PlayStation's probably looking at. I don't know. You said it so well.
I believe the two games sold over 15 million copies, if not more, at this point. Two combined, like not separately.
15 or 50?
No, 15.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought 15. That's what I thought too. From my memory,
I think it was around 50.
Which is
memory serves that it was.
Which is
15.
really good.
That's incredibly well.
Yeah,
they would do well on Xbox. I think I do very well over there. But you know what? It'd be fun. It'd be fun just to try it. And I mean, and if you're going to try it, you try it with a game like Spider-Man. But again, I don't think they're going to do this right away. I think they're going to wait for Xbox to make that move to the Xbox PC is what I was trying to say, because they don't want to develop twice. Why spend money? Dude, Thomas Mahler literally just said porting costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? And I know Sony's not suffering, but at the same time, it's like porting costs a lot of money. Why waste your time porting it twice if in 1 year from now, they're going to move from the Xbox ecosystem and go to this PC with an Xbox sticker on it? Like the next Xbox console is going to be a Windows device, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to get it there anyway.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So why not just wait till that? Well, that's assuming that they put the Steam store on the home console.
That's another factor. Like Meg, that's really great that you said that. Like it's already on Steam, so Xbox guys can still buy it. So PlayStation can still get money from Xbox guys. They buy it on Steam. Is an extra 15% worth the porting process, and that's when they start checking out those numbers and see if they can do it. Another game that I think applies to this argument that PlayStation is going to put their games on there is Death Stranding Part 1. Death Stranding is the IP now belongs to Kojima, but they put that game on Xbox when PlayStation owned the IP. Am I correct? I'm pretty sure I'm correct because
I'm not sure the timeline of when Kojima got the rights back.
Somebody said the other day that Kojima owns the IP of Death Stranding in Japan only, and I'm like, that's cockamamie. That's the first time I've used that word on the show. Who owns the Death Stranding IP? Let me see what the answer is. Kojima Productions now owns the intellectual property. They have full control over the game and future development. That is as of last year, or this year. I think it was this year. So now I need to see when he did that. November 7th. When did it come to Death Stranding? When did it come? If the chat writes it, let me know. When did Death Stranding come to Xbox? I think it was before that. To Xbox.
Viper XD is saying it was ported around the same time Kojima reacquired the ownership.
It was released November 7th. It was released November 7th.
Okay,
which
so
is
when
the
did
same
he get
date.
Ownership?
Let me look at what that ownership was, because that was Kojima acquires the rights to Death Stranding November 7th. Interesting that the game came out. So he knew he was going to acquire it, and he had the port ready and willing and ready to go on Xbox. So
right.
Detective Season Chat says, do not see them porting others to Xbox console, but I do see them keeping the Steam access open. And then Xbox could access those games.
Saying.
Detective
That's all I'm
saying.
saying.
They cannot block the games. They don't have to keep the access open on Steam. They cannot block their games on Xbox console or Xbox console devices or any devices against the terms of service.
But it's not an Xbox
Steam.
console if it's a Windows box, is what I'm saying.
We're
not talking about the current consoles.
Even in the future, when Xbox has their first-party console in 2027 with Steam, PlayStation is just going to enjoy the benefits of selling more games because they have more access to more customers. They cannot they will not block their games because a hardware tag or some sort of software tag says the Xbox logo or the Xbox name. They could try, but the only way to block Steam games from Xbox is to pull them off of Steam. And that's my best answer for you. So what Mag and I are trying to say is if you're already going to have access to the games, why not just get more money out of them and say, hey, let's see if we can port it and we take a bigger cut. And Xbox would say, sure. They'll just fold and say, yeah, instead of taking 30, we'll take 15. And they'll just bend over and take it because they're in that position. And PlayStation will happily reap the benefits, and everyone else, especially the consumer, will benefit from that handshake. And I can tell you that is I'm going to join in your fun, Mag. Malik, bro, if you're bothering my mods or bothering the chat or even bothering this handsome gentleman right here. Yeah, that's where he is. Stop.
Oh, that's where I am?
Stop.
He's not bothering me.
He's kind of handsome. Just have a good time. Like, we're not arguing here. If we were arguing, I'd be telling you that PlayStation sucks. I'd be jumping off the top rope. We're learning from each other. Have a good time in the show. We have an amazing chat. Everybody wants you to be here and have fun. Keep on the topic at hand and have a good time. Like we generally do a fun show and we bore you to death.
It's a talk show. It's a talk show. Talking show is a lot of talking.
Yep. And some
sometimes
singing.
in a 2+ hour and some singing. And in a 2+ hour show,
Yep.
not every single word that's going to come out of my mouth or Colt's mouth is going to make someone happy. It's just not the way it works. Right? So it's gonna be what it is, and that's what it is. That's what talk shows are all about. But if you are tolerant and if you're somewhat normal, that it doesn't really make a difference, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. That's like me not talking to my friend because he's a Yankees fan. Would I stop talking to my friend because he's a Yankees fan?
Well,
I'd be like,
you don't have to talk to him.
I don't have to talk to him, but like it's the same thing. It's just like
you don't have to be nice to him, Mag, if he's a Yankee fan. You don't.
I was hanging out with my friends on Saturday night.
You could take his sister out for lunch or something, if that, ruffles his feathers. You don't have to be nice.
That would work for sure. No. we were talking about Superman on Saturday. I hated it. Right?
Oh, and then, really? You and Fonz hated it?
I hated it. And then one of my brother's friends liked it, and then the other one didn't like it, and then one liked it. And like, what we that's it. We're all going home our separate ways. That's it. We're not hanging out for the rest of the night. Like, you see how stupid that sounds? That's exactly how stupid people sound in the gaming space. It's literally so stupid.
You're so stupid. You're enjoying Star Wars Outlaws. I'm like, well, that's a weird statement to say.
That's what I'm saying. So
I got some of that too.
Dumb. I know, and I got some smack in the chat about me. Right? It's just because like, wait, man, whatever, it doesn't matter. It don't matter at the end of the day because we're having fun, and the good people in this chat, all of you, we're all having a great time, and we're all talking about gaming. We're all gamers, and we're all going to keep doing that, man. So
hey, and speaking of
positive.
And speaking of having a good time, hit the like button to support the show. We really appreciate it. We're live on YouTube every Monday, 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, and we do a 2-hour show. And we're also on demand on Spotify and Google Podcasts. You want to listen to and even watch it on Spotify because I use the video version as well. If you want to listen to the show after the fact and rewind to your heart's content. And we've had a really great show. Mag, tell everybody where they can follow you. I've got your link in the description and what you plan for the week, and we're almost done.
Yes. Well, you know what? It was an awesome show tonight. A little bit of controversy. We'd always ruffle other people's feathers. Not ours, though. We are professionals in this game, folks. But anyways, yeah, of course, Skillet. Well, we know that. But either way, you can catch me on the Mag Show, of course. You will find me there. Tomorrow night, I will be doing Magcast for 1 hour. That's for members only. We do like a 1 hour catch up with all the members, and we all just shoot the breeze and whatever else. I even invited some of the members to come on. I go, you got a microphone? And you go, you don't even need a camera. You got a microphone? Come on and ask me questions. You could just come right on. I'll invite you right in. And then we can have like you can have a little podcast with me for like 10, 15 minutes. Talk about whatever. Ask me questions. We do that stuff on Tuesdays for members only. Again, Wednesday and Thursday this week, I will be back on Borderlands. Rambo, thank you for asking. Borderlands on Wednesday, Thursday this week. Friday, I will be hopefully getting towards the end of Silent Hill 2 Remake. And be doing that. So streaming, and in between all that, I'll be doing my video, of course, whenever news drops. So yeah, busy cat as always. But either way, follow me at the Mag Show. You know where you can find me. And anyways, everybody in the chat, you guys are so awesome. I love you guys. And Colt, as always, brother, a great show.
Yeah, it was really good. And I thought by the end you and I'd be choking each other out while we argued, but it went quite well.
Never.
I was telling my buddies, I'm like, Mag and I are going to talk about this supposed 60 thing, and I'm not sure where it stands. I said we're going to end up fighting pretty good, but I knew how it really ended up. But I don't know what I've got planned for the week for videos, but I'll be gone at the end of the week for a little bit. So hopefully I'll get something exciting to talk about. But it's been really great. You can follow Mag and I on YouTube and on Twitter if you want to hear us, share stuff and whatever. We're sharing screenshots and stuff. We appreciate you. We're going to get out of here. And have a good night, guys. Everybody, thank you so much for being amazing in the chat. Malik, thank you for being there. And hopefully, you're in a better mood and we can have more fun next week. We appreciate you guys for all your support. Wait, I got to make sure. I want to make sure I've got the supers before we go. Let's see. Yeah, real quick. Ghost Cloud's $5 super chat says, just the next gen Xbox question. Do you think it will have memory like that of a PC instead of those WD black cards that slot in the back of the Xbox Series S and X? You're not going to like the answer, but my prediction is that the next Xbox console and the OEM console, if it's made by another manufacturer, will have that card slot in it. The OEM console will probably also, you know what? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the next console probably is going to support those cards and not M.2's conventional ones, because Xbox kind of like dug that grave and now they got to hold on to it. That's my prediction. One more. Chris, thank you for the 5, says, I'm not sure Xbox would negotiate percentage with Sony. They absolutely will. Epic's been doing it, and I've heard someone say that it's a big possibility. Chris says, they clearly are in the business of getting as much profit as possible, for better or for worse. Chris, I think that extra profit will come by quantity, by selling more games, thanks to PlayStation giving them more games to buy on their platform. I think it's a win-win for everybody. Thank you, everybody, for all your support. Mag, stay bald and beautiful like me, and we'll see you guys next week. Sorry, I hit the button before you say bye. Bye, see you, Mag. Now you can say see you. Bye.